listening to the Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
I'm gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Okay, here we go. We are back in the booth for the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Pub Beer and Liquid Death. Stony Buds, how are you, my friend?
So good, my dog.
Always love to hear that. Now, to my left, we have pro BMXer Mike Hucker. What's going on, Mike? How are you?
I'm doing great. It's crazy listening to that intro with the headphones. It just got real all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's happening.
Hands are getting all sweaty.
Mm-hmm. You're in the hole. You're in the bomb hole.
Yeah,
right
man.
now.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well,
excited to be here.
Well, we love having you. Pleasure's all ours. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, I'm going to do a brief intro for Mike Hucker. He is 3-time Rider of the Year.
Dirt Rider of the Year.
Dirt Rider of the Year. And not two. Runke told me 2, so let's just correct him on that. He is X Games silver medal winner, a true character in every sense of the word, and he has been rocking a mullet for over 10 years. And quote unquote, he's the real Spicoli, but not stoned, in the words of Ryan Runke, your agent. Now,
he's the best.
Yeah, let's give him an air. So, Hucker, Mike Hucker. Let's start with, your real name is Mike Clark.
Yeah, Michael Stephen Clark. I have 3 first names.
I love it. So how'd the nickname come to be?
So I grew up in Huntington Beach, California, and there's these legendary trails right there called Sheep Hills. They've been there for over 30 years, longer than I've been alive. And I used to go there every day of my life when I was a Grom, and I got a bike. What was that? I had my GT Fueler, started going there all through middle school. Then in high school, I got a Mosh. And when I got this bike, I went from this little kid that couldn't even really jump most of the jumps. Like I could jump some of them, but I got this new bike, and for some reason it just clicked and I could start jumping everything there. And everything it literally was like a light switch went off. And I was the kid that was just sending it. Like no skill, full huevos, just going for it, eating crap, getting up, and just dying all day, every day, covered in dirt, head to toe. And it got to the point to where it was so bad, I was so sketchy that some of the locals, I'd show up and they would just point and say, go home. And they weren't doing it to be a jerk, but they didn't want to see me get hurt because I was that sketchy. I'd eat shit, I'd get knocked out, and I'd just get up laughing and be like, oh, all right, let's go again, and just, I was a little kid, I was amping. All I wanted to do was ride BMX. And that lasted probably for that first year pretty bad. And then they'd tease me about it after that. But that first year, man, it was rough. Like I had no style. I was just sending it. I would try to learn tricks over jumps. I could barely even jump, like not in a position to be doing the stuff that I was trying by any means, at least safely. And it just started clicking and everything started making sense over time. And then they started calling me Hucker, and I hated it because my peers I went to school with, they're my friends, but when we'd all be together, they kind of gang up on me because I was an easy target. I was a sketchy kid. I had no style. I'm all bonered out, just dead sailor and everything. And so, I was an easy target, they're just talking crap on me. So when everyone started calling me Hucker, I hated it. And I was just like, dang it, man. It's just going to be another reason. And of course it was. And then we're at the skate park called Real Ride, and it was out by Lake Paris, California. And I'm there one weekend, and I'm like 15, and this kid from Arizona came up to me. I'd never seen him in my life, and he's like, hey, you're Hucker, right? And in my head, I'm like, how the heck do you even know what that name is or who I am? And that's when I realized it was out of my control, and I was like, you can't worry about this anymore. And I just stopped caring, And that was one of the best decisions I ever made in my teens, was to stop caring. Because when you care, man, you just do everything for the wrong reasons, and it just sucks. And I did that freshman year. I hated it. And then once I stopped caring, it was sick. Mm-hmm. It was everything was fun. And then the whole world opened up, and it was like, yes, dude, what are we doing next?
There's something to be said. It's so funny. Everybody I talked to doing my research about you was just the thing that kept coming up. They're like, Hucker is authentically himself. And it seems like it's paid dividends in your whole life. Like, you're just like, I'm me. This is who I am. Take it or leave it,
Yeah.
and everybody loves
love it
that.
or hate it, man.
Yeah.
Well, you can't choose your nickname, right?
Nah, dude.
You gotta just
the
own
nickname
it.
chooses
Yeah,
you.
you gotta own it. Once it chooses you own it, or else you're just gonna be bumming your whole life.
You might as well own it, unless it's like a really bad one.
Yeah.
Like we got
True.
this guy. We used to call him Lumpy.
Yeah. It's not an ideal
That
nickname.
wasn't good. His other nickname was Big Daddy. He hates that one now too. But back in the day, he used to own it.
Own
He used
Lumpy.
to own it.
So one thing we were talking about off air earlier is you had a very incredible story about your first sponsor. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So my first real sponsor, I was a senior in high school, and I did my first ever contest. It was junior year in high school. It was the King of Dirt. It was the Coor Tour in Huntington Beach, California, right on the beach next to the pier. 3 dirt jumps, big roll in. And actually, that was the second one. It was a series, the Coor Tour. The first one was Venice Beach. I entered amateur. I got second place in amateur, and I got a ride. The top 3 got a ride with the pros the next day. So that was like, I was still a junior. It was like June of sophomore year. I was 16. Got second place, got a ride with the pros, missed the New York one because it was in New York, and I'm just some high school kid. Then went to the Huntington one, won that amateur, and then started competing professionally after that. Senior year in high school, that's when the Dew Tour was like blowing up. I think it started in like 05 maybe. I graduated 06. My uncle, Bill, he's the legend. He's the man. And my amazing...
Let's give him an air horn.
Yeah, and my amazing Aunt Darlene. They're like, hey, guys, we want you to come to the office. We want to have a meeting with you and your parents. So my parents and I went to his office, and they sat me down, and they're like, Mike, you're getting really good at riding bikes. Your Aunt Darlene and I want to support you and help in any way we can. You're graduating high school this summer. What are your goals? And I'm like, man, I would love to do the Dew Tour. If I get invited to Red Bull Elevation, which still to this day is one of the gnarliest dirt comps that has ever been, right up there with like Dreamline. But it was the first. And he's like, yeah, all right, cool. We want to send you to any contest you want to go to this summer, you and your mom or your dad. We could send one of you, get you a hotel rental car, and pay your entry fees. And I was just like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, you're really good at this, and we want to support you and help you out. We can help you out this summer. And that's when all the floodgates just opened. I started going to it's crazy, like bringing up these old stories. I have goosebumps through my whole body. And so did the Kentucky Dew Tour. Didn't even make it out of open qualifying because I was just so amped. I was trying to double flip, like right out of the gate and over rotating. Then I went to Denver, which was the second stop. Started in open qualifying, made it to the finals. And then got like, it's either 6th or 8th. I can't remember. I remember it's an even number. But I remember I was like on cloud 9, dude. Like just graduated high school, made the finals of the biggest dirt event of the year. And this was, I don't even think dirt was in X Games at the time. I think it was after they taken it out. And I remember I was there. It was at night, all lit up. And I stayed and autographed every kid that wanted an autograph, took a photo with every kid. And I remember, like, still to this day, it's like a dream. Like Dwayne Taylor, he was the DC Shoes BMX team at the time. He just like appeared out of nowhere. Like I signed the last autograph, and I took a deep breath, and I'm like, wow, dude, it's over. Like you made it. Like you made it to the finals, And he came up and like shook my hand, gave me a hug. He's like, dude, you were awesome. He's like, let me put shoes on your feet or what? And that was so far, like I couldn't even comprehend that. Like couldn't even think that far ahead yet, in my career. I'm like, holy cow, like, did I just get offered a sponsorship by DC Shoes? Like DC Shoes. And back then, like growing up, like I grew up in Huntington Beach. My dream was to ride for Vans. And this just came out of nowhere. And I was like, yeah, like what? Like, are you serious? And it was just right there. That was like the pinnacle of you can actually do this, Mm-hmm. And that was at an early age, that was the coolest feeling ever.
That's incredible.
Uncle.
What was the name of the construction company?
Oh yeah. So Uncle Bill had ClarkContractorsInc.com and GolfDecal.com.
Those are some solid first sponsors.
Well, most relatives are
corporate right from the get-go.
They're trying to get you to like focus on school and not bike, and these guys are like paving your way to let
it's
you
crazy,
do your dream.
man.
That's incredible.
Like I'm so thankful and I'm so blessed to have a fully supportive family. Like my parents, I remember being a little kid and I hated it, dude. I'd go to the trails, and my dad would show up in his lawn chair. And if I didn't trick a jump, he'd be like, Mike, you got to trick every jump. And I'm just like, dude, go home. Like, I'm just trying to ride my bike and have fun, you know? But he always pounded that in my head. And like now, like I appreciate it more than ever. Back when I was in high school, I hated it. I was like the only kid there whose parents sat and watched them ride every day. And I hated it. And now looking back, it's like, dude, I was so lucky.
Yeah, you pushed
like
it.
so lucky.
They call those helicopter parents, huh?
Yeah. Like they weren't bad though.
Yeah.
They weren't bad by
Yeah.
any means. Like I've seen some parents that
That
are
are
like,
real bad,
dude,
right?
like your kid hates doing this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, true.
We like don't make it like I loved doing it. I just hated having the pressure from him being there. You
Yeah.
know? And I don't know. I'm so thankful for my entire family, man. They've
They
been
actually
supportive.
cared.
Yeah, dude. They just wanted me to do well and not get hurt.
One thing that's really incredible too, what I've noticed, we talk about it a lot, but a lot of people sitting in that chair, we find as we talk to them, they have really supportive parents, And the other thing that's really, light bulb going off as I'm talking to you, there is so many parallels between being a professional BMXer or the road to pro BMX, as you're describing now, and professional snowboarding, professional skating, the brands. But the one thing I noticed that resonates so much is like the passion pours out of you. Yeah. Like as you start talking about riding your bike, the passion just pours out of you. And
Dude, passion's everything.
Yeah, let's talk
It's
about
everything.
That. It's a combining factor. We see it in our
Dude,
sport.
it's the root of greatness. Like if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're never going to be great at it.
True.
You're going to hate doing it, or you're going to dislike it, or you're going to be like, that's not for you. And it shows in whatever craft or skill that is. If you're not passionate, it shows. It's just like, you can see somebody doing something half as good or as cool, but if he's passionate about it, you're like, yeah, dude, he's getting it or she's getting it, like it's sick. Mm-hmm. Like I see it at the trails up at Woodward. Like there's the kids that are all about it. And then there's the kids that are just kind of there because their parents put them there, and like some of the kids are the worst. Like they don't have the best skill. I shouldn't say the worst, but they don't have the highest skill level of what they're doing, but they're enjoying it the most, And those are the ones that are going to progress the most.
Who is that as a kid, as you're describing?
What?
Your passion was
yourself, right?
Your passion was higher. sorry to put. Well, no, not in that sense, but it sounded like when you were talking earlier, your passion was higher than your ability level. Like when you're going for those, like you're talking about how you got your nickname in a sense. It's because your passion was higher than your ability level, and like look at how it worked out great for you. It worked out just fine. So. Yeah, that's incredible. So what you're talking about earlier is he's a guest pro over at Woodward Camp and up Woodward Park City. And I went up and was a fly on the wall watching him coach these kids. And you have Mike Hucker, huge pro BMXer, and he's talking to a group of, I don't know how old they are. They look like they're 12.
Yeah, they're grums. I think some of them are way younger.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm just so proud of each and every one of you guys. And like the one
Kids
kid,
are loving
he
it.
tried to jump it, like went to his back.
He got smoked.
Really?
And he got
He was
up.
on my bike too. Oh my gosh, it was bad. He didn't have brakes, and you need brakes for these jumps. And he's jumping. He's doing really good the whole time.
He was on your actual bike?
Yeah, this one, because his bike didn't have brakes, and you need them. And the tabletop line, he's doing them really good. And I see him go, and I pull out my phone like really quick. I'm like, yeah, I should put this on my Instagram story. And I catch him right as he's taking off, and he's front wheel high. Manuals the whole landing, gets to the bottom, and just G's out and loops out, knocks the wind out of himself so bad. Like, got smoked. And he got up. He's good now. But
He's good.
Oh, man, that little guy.
But
he was ripping.
Dude, yeah, these kids are so hyped to be talking to Mike and
That's
everything.
so cool.
So one thing I wanted to ask is a lot of pros, they're like, I'm not going to go be a guest pro. I don't want to do that, whatever. Like, at least in our sport, you see that a lot.
That's where it starts,
so,
dude.
So what I was wondering is, why do you choose to be a guest pro, and what do you enjoy about it?
Everything. Literally everything about it. Like, here's a perfect example. I remember I was a little kid, and I was watching the news, and this guy, they were interviewing some pro biker, Newport Beach at the pier, and the guy was standing on his handlebars. And they're like, yes, I don't remember who he was, but I remember seeing it on the news. And it was the first time I'd ever seen anybody do that. And they're like, so-and-so's going to be down here at Newport Beach this weekend. Come down, say hi, get an autograph, whatever. I remember running upstairs or downstairs and be like, Mom, Dad, this guy's going to be standing on the handlebars at Newport Beach. Could we please go this weekend? And they're like, no, sorry, we can't, Mike. And I was so bummed. And I learned that trick, not because of that, for other reasons. I learned it. And I've seen that spark in a little kid's face. And I know that one that one moment that they saw that, they're never going to forget that the rest of their life.
They're hooked, huh?
It's the sickest thing ever, you know, and knowing that I can have that type of influence on a kid's life, an adult's life, anybody, that's what I want to do. And I was always like really good with the kids at Woodward. Like I've been going up to Woodward West half my life now. And the older I get, the more I realize it's not about me, you know, it's about the next generation. Like I've been there, I've done it, I'm still doing it, thankfully, but I have a chance to help kids progress at something that they love and they're passionate about, you know, and it's the sickest thing ever. Just helping people in general, it doesn't have to be a kid, just helping anybody is the best feeling.
Well, you know, it's another cool one noticing from, we have snowboard camps, we have High Cascade as well. And so we spend a lot of summers going up there, working up there. And there's something also about being around kids. And, you know, in snowboarding and action sports, it's cool to party. It's cool to get destroyed. It's cool to like be a maniac. But when you're around these kids, you're like, oh, shit, I'm a role model. And so it kind of, in some ways, it makes you a better person.
It grounds you, dude.
Yeah, right? Would you say?
Yeah, 100%, man. It makes you realize like everything okay, here's the thing. Kids are the purest individuals out there. They haven't been brainwashed and jaded by what society says you're supposed to do, dude. Like, I'd rather hang out with my nieces and nephews any day of the week over my friends. I love my friends, but little kids, not even just little people, they're so true and they're so real, you know? Like, they're going to be like, oh, you're fat, because they don't know that that's going to hurt somebody's feelings. They tell it as it is, you know, or
They just say whatever pops in their head.
Exactly.
And
They're just real.
unfiltered.
They're real.
Yep.
You know?
They're not all fucked up by society yet.
Exactly. So if I could implement things that I've loved my whole life and I know it could help somebody out, that's good enough for me, you know?
Dude, incredible. So one thing I've also noticed too is like you just seem to make it fun, right? Like you enjoy your time riding a bicycle.
Damn, fun you ain't living.
Yeah, exactly. and so like, dude, it can turn into this big serious career. Oh, I ride for Red Bull. I got expectations. I got to do my things, right? That's a real things that go through people's heads.
Yeah.
So how do you, I have two parts. How do you keep it fun, A? And question number B, do you consider riding your BMX bike a career?
Yes, it is 100% a career. Keeping it fun. So I'll tell a little story, quick story. Right behind my house where I grew up, there's a reptile store called Prehistoric Pets. Jay Brewer is one of the best python breeders in the world. He breeds reticulated pythons, anacondas, like everything, you name it. He could breed these things. And I used to go in there every day of my life because I love animals. I've always loved animals. And I used to go in there every day. And I remember that in the goldfish tank, they have goldfish for feeders. There's a bullfrog tadpole in there. And the manager at the time, Juan, I'm like, Juan, what do I got to do for that bullfrog tadpole? Because I knew they couldn't sell them because it was native to California and it's illegal to sell. But they came with the fish. And they had these giant windows out front. He's like, Mikey, clean those windows. I'm like, okay, for sure. So I cleaned the windows. Got this tadpole. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this thing, but I got it. That's sick. And every day I'd go back like, what else can I do? What else can I do? And I'm literally in middle school spending every day of my life there that I'm not at the trails. It was right by my house. I'd always go there and I'm just cleaning cages. And like, I would clean the cages faster than any of the employees because I was just like, I got to hold any animal I wanted, you know? I'm like, this is sick. Like, here's an anaconda. Here's a bearded dragon. Like, there's so many animals there. And I remember Jay, one day, I'm in middle school and he goes, Mikey, let me pay you, dude. And I remember, like, I'll never forget. I remember looking at him. I'm like, no, because then I won't be able to go ride my bike. I'll have to come here. I want to go ride my bike when I want to ride, you know? And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he was like, all right. And I think that was a part of it, you know?
So would you say that's your approach to your, like, keeping it fun on your bike?
You got to keep it fun, dude. If I've noticed that if I'm not having fun on my bike, I'm not riding good, and I'm going to eat shit and I'm going to get hurt because that's what I've dealt with. And there's times where it's not fun, dude. There's times where you're on a road trip and you're on like a month-long road trip and you're supposed to be filming a video part and you're supposed to produce every single day and you just battled something for 2 hours trying to land a trick and you're beat up, you're sore. You wake up the next day, you can barely walk and it's like, okay, let's go to this giant set of trails and we got to film the most amazing content ever, you know? And it's stressful and it's not fun. but that's part of it, you know, and there's a lot more fun than just that. And I used to really struggle with that. Now, when I'm having those days, I just call it a wash. If somebody's pissed, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, today is not the day. I've been there on so many occasions where I pushed it and then I got hurt. And I've learned that, you know, you have to trust your gut, dude. You have to trust your gut. And sometimes that's not fun, but that's part of it, you know? But the rest of the time is totally awesome. So it's like, I could have one not fun day.
He just described his career basically too.
Yeah, and it sucks though. Like, you know, people expect things of you, and like to say no is the hardest thing ever. But sometimes you just have to.
Mm-hmm. Well, another thing you're saying, talking about these trips, it's such an insane parallel between us when we do our street snowboarding trips, and the thing that I find is that all those times, sometimes it's cold and you're shoveling and you're beat up and you're sore. But my favorite times I've realized on the trips are actually like Bud's is a photographer. He's hanging out. We're hanging out in the van. We got trash up to our knees, and we're like, you know, like eating gas station food, and you know, like I cherish the moments in between the moments on the trip. Right? Those are the moments. It's not like, oh, I didn't get a trick today. It's like, who gives a shit? Like, Bud's had diarrhea today. Like, you know, like
He shit himself this morning. It's great.
It's happened.
Been there.
But and that's another thing too, because you see, you know, it's interesting, you know, a little bit of a pivot here into Olympic talk, but I notice in snowboarding and probably in, you know, BMX is in the Olympics. Now it seems to me that we see in our sport that there's parents getting into it for the wrong reasons. Like they want little Timmy to be an Olympic medalist, and they just suck the fun out of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys see that in biking at all?
I don't.
Okay.
Luckily for freestyle, it's going to start happening 100% now that freestyle is in the Olympics. It will. It's inevitable. Luckily for what I do, not that often, you know. There was one instance, my buddy Bar Spinner, he's the guy that introduced me to Fuzzy, actually. He's another reason I have everything I have today is through Bar Spinner. He's a Huntington Beach.
Cool nickname.
Yeah, he was in like the 1997 Guinness Book of World Records for the tallest man to compete in the X Games. He was a BMXer.
Tallest man.
Dude, he's a G.
Let's give this man an air horn.
Yeah. Shout out
So
to Ryan
sick.
Brennan. We do a BMX summer camp in Newport Beach, right on the beach. It's beautiful. There's a blacktop right there, right on the beach. And we bring out ramps. There's all these little kids, and most of them it's just a daycare. You know, the parents, it's like rich Newport moms. They drop off their kids so they could go do whatever they want in the morning. And there's like a couple kids that are super stoked to be there, you know. And there was this one kid one year, and he was so much better than everybody else there. And you could tell, like, he was just that kid that had the passion, you know. And then the U.S. Open of Surfing happened in Huntington that summer, and Vans had a contest there. And it was a bull contest. It's mostly bull riders, you know. There's a couple trail guys. There's a couple park guys. Those are all different disciplines of riding. They all, like, they have similarities, but you ride them all differently. Like, if you're a park guy, you're doing the craziest flips and spins and, like, you know, getting every bang for your buck. You're hammering as many tricks as you can per air, you know. If you're a trail guy, you're doing tricks, but you're trying to be stylish. You're trying to blast, go for height, velocity. Like you know, there's like an art to it. There's a flow to it. Park guys could ride trails. Trail guys could ride park, but the riding is totally different. And then there's bull guys, and most bull guys, it is sick to watch. It's like bull skating, dude.
Yeah.
Dude's just ripping, you know. But it'd be like a vert skater going in a bull contest. They could do it, and they're going to skate it really well, but a bull rider is going to stand out, you know?
Yep.
And so...
Whip the corners and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's this guy, Daniel Sandoval. He is a legend. He actually qualified the U.S. Olympic team this year, and he didn't get in the Olympics because he missed like one or two of the very first events in the very beginning of qualifying for it. And he is so good, but he didn't have the points. And he is arguably one of the best riders in the world. And he's sponsored by Vans, does the bull contest, and didn't do good, you know? He did crazy tricks, like incredible tricks, but he didn't ride the bull the way it was designed to be ridden for that specific contest, you know? And there's a million different ways you could argue it. The bottom line is he didn't do what the judges wanted to see or were expecting. And I went up and I saw the kid, and they're like, yeah, we're really bummed that Daniel didn't do better. The parents are like, we're really bummed that he didn't do better. He did some crazy stuff. I'm like, yeah, but he did. He undeniably did, but he didn't ride the entire course. He wasn't flowing it. He took pedals. They dock you for that. And they're like, yeah, we think we're going to take him out of BMX and put him in more traditional sports because they saw that. So that would be one of those parents, for example. Instead of pushing him, though, they took him out, because they're like, wow, he got judged so unfairly. And I get where they're coming from, like he's an incredible rider. He did probably the craziest tricks in the contest, but he didn't ride the bowl the way that, there's no rider. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
It's about flow. It's about
exactly.
flow, and if the difficulty it needs to be combined with flow, and it sounds like he's missing the flow of the course.
Exactly,
in some senses. But another
crazy tricks though.
Yeah, and but the other thing that's cool, which I want to talk to you about, trails, which is the dirt jumps for the layman's, versus a lot of the stuff I see in park, and for me, it's a great comparison to you watch slope style and snowboarding, and it is. I personally love it, but a lot of times some guys make it look a little too gymnastic, a little too acrobatic. Now,
so that's the park riders.
And then the park riders on the BMX side of things, like those guys, they're doing double backflip, and the bike's doing like 5 tail whips, and it's like, holy dude, this is like
what just happened?
What just happened? And I think to myself, if I was a kid and I was like, that's what I have to do, like I'm gonna die, right? But like, you go watch you guys ride the trails, and it's like you guys are going off the jumps, you're styling your bike out in the air, you're doing whips, and you're like for me, I'm like, that looks cool. That's timeless.
And they're going huge, right?
Yeah, and the timeless.
It's really fun.
And yeah, and there's a great element that's a parallel to snowboarding too. Again, because backcountry would be a good comparison because you shovel your own jump, and nothing's perfect, and you got to put in the work. There's nothing built for you. Granted, it takes us about 4 hours to build a jump, and then you're chucking. But you guys, it
takes years for a set of trails to be perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Then there is no perfect because the trails always change, man. The lips blow out. You're patching stuff after every session because landings blow out. And as a mountain biking, it doesn't really matter as much. But for BMX, we have such small wheels. You want it to be perfectly smooth. So it's a lot of work, dude. And you go to any trails around the world. Not any trails, but there's like this big thing. And I get it. I personally hate it, but it's no dig, no ride. I get it. I respect it. Every time I ever go to trails, I always say, how can I help? That's the best thing you could do going to any new set of trails because they require a lot of work. But where I grew up riding Sheep Hills, it's just like a free-for-all, man. They're some of the most legendary trails in the United States. In California, I should say. Not the United States, but in California, they're the most legendary trails that there are. But they're also the worst trails. They're blown out. Nobody takes care. There's like a handful of guys that take care of it. And growing up, like I'd build the jump and it would be perfect. And I'd be like, yeah, dude, I can't wait to come back tomorrow to shred it, So you get off school, you go to the trails as fast as you can. You get there, it's cut in half. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And it's because somebody else came and it was too big and they couldn't jump it. So they just hacked it away. That would never fly at any other real set of trails anywhere in the world. No way,
wow.
Dude. Mm-hmm. But so that's where I grew up. And so that's why, if somebody wants to come to my trails, I'm just stoked that they want to come there. If they're coming all the time and they're showing up after we untarp everything and after we're done watering and then they leave right after we're done before we tarp everything back up, if they do that all the time, then I'll say something. But dude, everybody's on their own path. We all have our own schedules. I get it, but definitely try to help.
Everyone have the same attitude you have? That's hanging out there? Yeah, I was going to say, I bet not.
Everybody, there's so many. I love them all, and they're salty for a reason because they put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they hate being taken advantage of, And I get it. I've been there too, but I don't know. I just grew up riding these trails where nobody cared about anything.
Well, but the one thing I want to highlight about these trails too is that like you go, I grew up in Massachusetts hitting like little shitty backyard dirt jumps, and you fill up a wheelbarrow full of dirt and you pack it and it's fucking horrible, and you go and you fucking wheelie out and land on your back and you don't know what you're doing and you're stiff in the air. Or like to change gears, or here they have Tanner Park, and the trails here
Tanner's so sick.
Is the thing I love about it though is the ecosystem it's created. Yeah. So people show up and you dig. And nobody rides, and like it's not that like the digging. It's not about the digging to me. It's about the camaraderie. Like everybody's shoveling There's this perfect culture. You go there every day.
Yep.
It just, and that type of culture is really important for kids to have growing up. A sense of community, a sense of place. You might not have a good home life, but you're welcome at these trails, you know, and that is like, as opposed to like, oh, the city made some jumps and I show up and I take my bike out of my car
Hack
and then I
them
leave.
away, and then they're bumpy and they suck.
Yeah,
you know?
but those trails are very special in the same way that a skate park can be, and or a snowboard park for that matter, of like creating a community and an ecosystem. It seems like Sheep Hills was like that for you, right?
Well, and Sheep, it's gone through so many phases. Like it'll kind of get forgotten about for like a year or two, and then there'll be a crew that comes in and tries to change it, and then they always realize like the more they change it, the more it doesn't work. For some reason, it's at sea level. It's all flat. It's the hardest place in the world, in my opinion, to ride. The most difficult place in the world to ride. And it's because it's all flat. Nothing's perfect. It's bumpy. It's rugged. And you have to generate all your own speed. There's no hill. And, this guy, Sean, here's a quick little story. So Corey Nastasio, he's a legend. He's been my hero since I was a Grom. He used to have these trails out in Riverside. And they're some of the biggest jumps I'd ever seen in my life. And I remember I was in high school and they did this final jam there because they were selling the house. And I go to the trails like the Monday after the jam, and everybody's talking about it. And I asked Sean Butler, he was like a hero of mine. He was there. I'm like, Sean, do you think I could have jumped those? Because I'm like 15. He's like, Hucker, if you could jump every jump here, you could jump any jump in the world. He's like, this is the hardest place to ride. And I still swear by that till this day. It's the best cardio, and you have to work for it. You have to know how to push through. If you land good, you have to know how to pump and yank back. Most good sets of trails, there's some downhill grade.
Yeah.
Gravity's your best friend. It puts you over the jumps as long as you land good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to have skill. Like if you land a sketch, you need to know to push through it. But yeah, there's just something about Sheep, man. It's a magical place. I got a tattoo, actually. There's a
that's
sheep
beautiful.
jumping over. I got a rash right there.
Sheep
too,
jumping
from
over a
new-
hill.
Yeah.
There it
I got
is.
a rash from some new deodorant, but yeah. I'm the
Don't
black
mind,
sheep.
don't mind the don't mind the rash.
Yeah, I made this sheep black because that was me. I was the one everyone used to tell her to
You were
go
the black
home.
sheep.
I was like, fuck you guys.
But there's a lot of good life lessons there from
Yeah.
like respecting older kids and learning a
100%,
pecking
dude.
order.
Yeah,
You know, there's no the
Yep.
thing, you go to a skate park now or a snowboard park and there is no, and for better or worse, but I think that the respect is earned at the park, and that's a huge thing to like, oh man, I don't want to piss off the older guys.
Yep.
Like, that's not a thing. Kids are just like looking down at their feet, like, and just there's social awareness. It's just different now.
It's so you know what's crazy about the skate parks, and I don't want to knock on scooters at all because I respect scooter riders. Anybody that's passionate about what they do, I respect it. Whether you're a rollerblader, whether you're a painter, you could be a roofer. And if I see a guy like jam into the music while he's roofing, I'm like, hell yeah, go that guy, you know, or whatever it is, as long as there's passion. But when scooters first came around, so there used to, let me backtrack, there used to be this big beef. Skaters always hated BMXers. Growing up, you know, there's most of skate parks, you weren't even allowed to ride bikes that you'd get a ticket. That's how it was. Not so much here. Utah has been pretty blessed with not having to deal with that, but California especially, you know, skaters hated bikers. We ruined the skate parks. No, we didn't. But anyway, so that was kind of a thing that it started getting a little bit better, but there was still like some tension there. And then scooters showed up, and it gave, you know, everybody something to hate on. So like all the bikers were like, screw these scooter kids, and all the skaters were like, you know, screw scooter kids. And it did suck in the beginning. It really did. It's gotten so much better now because the scooter kids, they would drop in and drop in and drop. There's zero etiquette. They didn't understand the way the skate parks, there was no flow to it. It was just scooter, drop in, throwing it everywhere, super dangerous. And it was frustrating, you know, and I don't want to come off as I'm talking crap on scooters because I respect scooter guys, especially the good ones. It's incredible to see what they do. But that made everybody hate it, you know, and I feel like it's gotten so much better because they finally, scooter riding has been around for quite some time now, you know, and they finally figured it out, or they're starting to. It's way better than it used to be. And there's like a respecting there. Before it was just little kids, didn't know anything about anything. It was just go. And they've definitely gotten a lot better. But that kind of, you know, sealed the bridge between bikers and skaters.
Mutual
you know? So
hatred.
it was
Yeah,
tight.
mutual.
Yeah. Like, I never hated it. It was annoying, but like, I was never one guy to be like, F scooters. It's like, dude, you could be here on roller skates or rollerblade. I don't care. Just don't get in the way. Just pay attention, Like, that's all I ask. Pay attention.
The scooter kids were getting in the way, though.
I don't want to kill you, and I don't want you to kill me.
They don't look up. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You got to have a spatial awareness, and
Yeah.
if you're a young kid, and they're figuring it out.
But it goes for skaters and bikers too.
Yeah.
The thing with skaters and bikers are, if they're a little kid and they're riding like that, somebody's going to yell at them and they're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
The scooter kids, they didn't really have an elder scooter guy to yell at them. It was always a skater or the biker. And they're probably like, screw them. They're bikers or skaters,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my take on it. I
Yeah.
could be totally wrong, but it is sick watching a good scooter guy. I respect that.
Okay, we're gonna do a quick little pivot here for a fan favorite of the show. You know what that is, Buds?
Spinning wheel of death.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the liquid death.
Death, death, death. Spinning wheel of
I always see BMXers; they love metal. That's probably a good intro for
pretty
this.
solid.
Yeah, for
Good
the-
intro.
The fast and loose guys would love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, liquid death. A couple good things about it. You're not contributing to the plastic waste going on our planet.
True story.
You're crushing can. You know what I love about it? I
Tell
can
me.
chug one of these, run a 40-yard dash. It's not like drinking a beer. You're not
Sports drink.
It's a sports drink. You go play basketball. You can probably run a marathon and drink liquid death.
True story.
It's great.
Water's one of the most dangerous things on Earth. You got freezes, it forms avalanches. Sharks are swimming in it. When canned, it is perfect and hydrating and something that you need. So
Couldn't agree more.
grab a
buds.
liquid death.
That was solid.
So if you guys are interested in picking up some liquid death as we crush it on the show on a regular basis, head on over to liquiddeath.com/bombhole. Pick yourself up some liquid D, and they'll send you a free set of koozies with your first purchase. You're supporting the show. Again, they support us. You should support them. Now, we're going to get into...
I got to try it. Can I crack this one?
Yeah, crack it.
Crack
You
it.
guys make it sound so awesome. I got to try it for myself.
There you go.
got
You know what the
bubbly-
best sound in the
bubbly
world is?
version.
Oh, wow. That's refreshing.
It was sparkling too.
So what we're going to do here is you're going to
That
spin...
is nice.
You're going to spin the liquid death spinning wheel of death. Whatever it lands on, you're going to have to do, but you got to show the camera. So you spin it, we'll tell you what you do.
Okay.
I know what I hope it
We're
lands
going
on.
in blind. Here we go.
He doesn't even know what's on there.
Sniffing salt.
So he landed on a classic blind touch test. So we're going to put 3 items. Is it 3, Buds? 3 items in front of you. Now you will pick him up off the table and you try to describe what they are. So Buds is walking over there. He's going to put the first item on the table. You have to feel around.
Am I by the, is this it?
Yep, that's it.
Blueberry.
Incorrect.
Can I smell it?
Yeah, smell it.
Oh, it's an olive.
Oh, wow. He
I
is
love olives.
good.
Wait. Green olive. I love olive.
Wow, he's
Pickles,
good.
don't even get me started.
He's good. Okay, what else you got, Buds?
I'm like, blueberry? No. Wait, sorry.
There you go.
It's like a hard piece of bread or an old lemon.
Close.
Is it a fruit?
It's a fruit.
It's like a dried up tangerine.
It's not dried up. It's fresh.
Oh.
Close. Whoa. It's kind of fuzzy, right?
Fresh?
It's
Not
fresh.
fresh.
kiwi. That's
Yes, it is.
It's a
Wow. 2 for 2. I guess
right.
you didn't really get that right first out of the gate. And we have the last item. I'm going to put it in front of you.
shake weight.
Come on, dude.
You got the shake weight.
Like, there's like a dumbbell here, but it's springy. Is it a shake weight?
It's a shake weight.
It is a shake
Yeah,
weight.
you want to demonstrate while you're blindfolded how to use it?
No. I don't want to hit the mic. It's like
It's a shake weight. How's it work for fitness purposes? Pretty good.
Billy Mays here.
We
Rest
bu-
in peace.
That was good.
All right, you went 3 for 3, kind of. I guess
Kind of.
kiwi you didn't really get.
Is there more?
No, that's it. So you can de-blindfold.
I have this one other one, but he'd never guess what it is.
Do it.
Do it?
Do it. Send it.
All right.
We're
All right, we got
we're
one.
having a good time.
We got
here.
one last blind touch test. Eastone is bringing something over, putting it on the table. Okay, what do we got?
That was a cheap. Ooh, just slime. Is this Flubber? Is it Flubber?
Yeah, it's Hucker.
Remember that movie?
This guy's a goddamn.
Wow, he's good.
Slime.
He's
You
good.
got it, dude.
My daughter loves making slime.
I was gonna say if you have kids, you probably know.
It's so satisfying.
You won.
Shucking. Hi, what color is it?
Yeah, guess the color.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a purple or a pink.
It's peach.
Peach.
Close to pink.
Wow, what a great little blind touch study, you could call it. Now, Buds,
Magic hands.
let's take a couple questions that are submitted from our Patreon members.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you. The first one is from Edward Shaber. If you had a gun to your head, which would you give up, hang fives or your luscious mullet?
Neither, dude. I just pull out my Rambo card and no, I'm just joking. Whatever one. I don't care. Whatever he'd tell me to.
Whatever, you're not attached.
We have footage of him doing the hang five as well for the record. We will put on the screen.
Yeah, we'll pop that on the screen.
because it is phenomenal. He just actually the best thing about Hucker is he shows up. We walk through the studio immediately. He's like, "Don't you guys have a spot in the back?" And he gets right on his BMX bike and then starts doing hang fives like right out of the car.
Or he was doing handlebar
Handlebar
rides.
rides.
Which is
handlebar rides.
Sorry.
Another question from Sean Fitzpatrick. How long did it take you to get so damn good at handlebar rides?
A long time. Handlebar rides. You know what's crazy? Handlebar rides, it's not a difficult trick to learn. It's just terrifying to think about it. But I tell people, I try to teach people. Like, I remember like when I first learned them, everybody's like, why are you teaching people that? That's your trick. I'm like, dude, this has been around since the 80s. Like, come on. Anybody that wants to do it, I'm going to teach them. And it's all mental, just getting up there. But I forgot where I was going with this. I was going somewhere.
It looks scary as hell to me.
It's scary as hell, but it's all mental, you know? Think about it this way. If you eat shit, you're falling from that high.
True. That is a good point.
I'll tell you, it's
huh?
great.
From that high.
The showmanship factor is through the roof.
Yeah, the showmanship factor.
That's a huge. Sometimes I think professional athletes forget that like entertainment value is huge.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's a good one to have in the bag. It's a party trick too.
That is a great party trick.
I'll hit up one more question while we're here because
Yeah.
we talked about the Olympics. This is from Seth Keaton. How do you feel about the current state of BMX with it being introduced to the Olympics?
I think it's amazing, dude. There's going to be the core guys that are going to hate it, say it's going to ruin the sport. It's also going to create a whole new sport for people that would never get into it. They're going to watch it on TV and be like, holy shit, that's so cool. I want to do that. And it's going to drive people to progress the sport and excel in it. And it's amazing. For the core guys, they're never going away. They have nothing to worry about, And like, I feel like I'm definitely way more of a core guy than an Olympian by any means. I don't even like call myself an athlete, but, yeah, like I think it's great for the sport, and yeah.
I would think it would have all the professionals making more money too because more people are going to be buying bikes and getting into the sport.
Yeah, but that could go both ways also. Yeah. Like it could take away from the core guys, from like the trail scene or the bowl scenes or whatever. But I don't know. The bottom line is I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome. I think it's great. It gives somebody a platform to excel in something they love. And
I
that's
think
good
it
enough for me.
legitimizes it too,
It
Great
does
answer.
legitimize
Yeah.
it, but it's another platform for people to do what they love, and I'm all about it.
That's awesome.
Well, we are going to pivot into a guest question from none other than Luke Seal. Here we go.
Great.
Michael, Luke Seal. One of the things that I've always appreciated about you is that even if it's work related, you keep it fun and just make it a good time. So that being said, why were you late to the Dreamline Finals in Wabasha, Minnesota, and how'd you do in that contest? And second, follow-up question, what was the most embarrassing bit of footage you ever sent in to GoPro when you had to send them footage every month? Go.
That's a great way to end the question.
Oh man, Luke Seal is the best, man. What was the first question?
The Dreamline.
Short-term memory.
Why were you late?
shot. Okay, so I don't remember.
I know.
You do?
You know the
Yeah,
answer.
I talked to Luke
tell me if I'm right.
Okay.
Because I don't. I probably had a night, something to do with drinking the night before or something. No?
No. You want me to tell? I'll answer this for you.
Tight. Yeah, please.
So,
Because I don't remember.
I'm gonna paint a picture.
Oh, I was fishing. I
Yes.
was fishing. Yeah, with Dennis Henderson. Yeah. Yeah.
So to paint a picture about this, when he was explaining it to me, it's called Dreamline,
Yeah.
correct? And it's one of the biggest dirt contests in the world, maybe the biggest
Ever to be done. One of them. That and Red Bull Elevation are like the two biggest ones.
Biggest prize purse, huge for his career, right?
Yeah.
And he shows up late because he's fishing.
Fishing the Mississippi River, dude.
Exactly.
Sick, dude. It was sick. I went to tackle, like, we're in Wabasha, Minnesota. And if you don't know where that is, you remember the movie Grumpy Old Men?
Oh yeah.
That movie is based out of Wabasha, Minnesota.
Okay.
It's got like a population of not very much at all. Like I'm talking like maybe 500, maybe like that's. I'm from Southern California. There's a ton of people there, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, you should check out the Mississippi River." Yeah, I'm like, "We're near Mississippi. Like you're the river. What? Where's this? I got to see this." And so I ran to a tackle shop. I bought like an ugly stick, like a $30 or $40 setup. I bought a couple Rapala, I don't know. Rapala, yeah. And a couple Castmasters. I love fishing. I've grown up fishing my whole life. And I will say, a Castmaster, I've caught more fish off a Castmaster than any lure ever. And it's anywhere, any type of fish. Like a Castmaster, for some reason, I'll get that. But anyway, so I hit up my buddy Dennis Henderson, who is, the Dave Mirra of this generation. He's the best at BMX, in my opinion, hands down. When it comes to well-roundedness, he does everything to the best. And we go check out the river. There's like a bay there with a bunch of boats, and there's a gas dock. And I'm like, let's go fish on that gas dock. We're going to get kicked out, but let's just go for it. Every cast, dude, we were either catching a smallmouth bass or a pike.
It's whacking fish.
Dude, whacking them. Every cast. Every single cast. And I'm just like, I'd never seen a pike before in real life. It's a freshwater barracuda.
Oh, dude, those things are carnivores.
Dude,
they're
gnarly.
and they'll just eat anything you throw in there if they're there.
Yep. And dude, we probably caught like 20 fish in like an hour. Maybe we fished longer, but we caught so many, literally every cast. I got to the point where I'd just drop it down, I'd start walking, and I'd get hooked up. And I'm like, dude, this is sick. And so we were late because we couldn't stop fishing. We were like, this is so sick. I'm so happy you asked that because I totally forgot about this.
So then you show up at the event and you're in the finals and
and they're like, dude, the contest is starting. Where were you? And we're like, dude, we were fishing. We got so many. It was so sick. Luke just looked at me like, this guy.
He's a Red Bull athlete manager at the time, or he worked for Red Bull.
So I wasn't on Red Bull at the time.
Okay, yep.
This was like a year, maybe 2 years prior to me getting on Red Bull. But yeah, that's why I was late to the biggest dirt contest of my life.
How'd you end up doing?
I got third.
Perfect.
I got third. It was a good time. I got the podium.
That's a testament to your character there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I know there's a big contest. I know there's a lot of money, but we are whacking fish. Right?
Yeah,
I don't know what to say.
One forecast.
Just having fun over your career.
dude.
Just like, so one day I'm at the Mississippi.
And then you go get third. Who knows if you're all stressed out about that? Oh, I can't go fishing. This is a big, serious contest. You show up after you whack a couple fish. You're feeling
Dude,
incredible.
I'm loose and
You're
limber.
loose.
I'm like, let's do this, baby. Like,
Keep it fun. You got to keep it fun.
Yeah,
That's how you
dude.
get on the podium. Now, part two of that question I'm interested in. It's about the GoPro footage. Let's get into that.
there's so much. I don't even. Did he tell you the answer?
He didn't
Of
tell me
this
the
one?
answer, but I know there's like a lot of dong out type of stuff.
There's a lot of dong out.
You're just sending it to GoPro.
I sent them a lot of stuff. Like, here's a good one. Jaden Leeming, who just got on Red Bull from New Zealand. They did a trip out here, and it was kind of like his welcome to the team thing. They did like a whole series with them, and we went out to Catalina Island. We're fishing, I'm snorkeling with them and stuff. And this is when I was on GoPro. I don't know what the craziest one was, but this was spot on. I'm in the water and I'm like, dude, I gotta poop so bad. And so I grabbed the GoPro stick and I shove it back there, and I'm like, and this eel comes out. And it looked like a moray eel. It had two eyeballs and a mouth coming out of a cave. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely sending this to Toshi.
You say GoPro footage, you taking a shit.
Yeah.
and told him there was an eel? Or just, you
I mean,
hope
it looked
that's
like
what
one. Dude, Do you know what the Okinawan sea snake is?
Unfamiliar, no.
Well, this is another GoPro related thing.
Okay.
I don't ride for them anymore. I ride for Opkicks. They're awesome, but I don't. I respect them too much. I can't send them that kind of stuff.
Okay, I like that. Look at a nice plug. That's a professional there.
Yeah, Opkicks is awesome. But the Okinawan sea snake, you've never heard of an Okinawan sea snake. So they're found off the coast of Okinawa, Japan. They're the deadliest sea snake of all sea snakes. They grow, wait, let me look it up really quick. It's right here. They grow 3 to 4 feet in length. They float to the surface and they break apart into hundreds of pieces, only to be eaten by fish.
Really?
Yeah.
They just break apart.
You've never. I can't believe
We're not as much semen. We're landlocked over here. Semen's an interesting
This is
term.
the Okinawa sea snake and where they come from.
Is it poop?
Here we go. Oh my God, dude. Oh!
I don't want to see that after.
God! Is that you? Jesus Christ.
Should we just do the audio?
That is disgusting.
Is that poop?
It's gnarly.
It's definitely aggressive. It's aggressive.
I got a GoPro at the time, and I'm just like, they want
He's
all
shitting
the footage.
He's shitting in the water and it's floating to the surface.
It's like 4 feet long though before it breaks.
Yeah, we should. If I threw a tape measure on that, I'd say maybe 4.5.
4.5 foot
Massive.
shit.
Yeah, that's incredible. Now,
Something about in the water, maybe it creates water babies extra long.
so we
Fish
got
food.
while we're on the subject of all this stuff, there's a great story I heard about. You do the hang fives. I believe it was San Francisco. You go. So you go. So
I already know this one.
How many hills did you do? The four biggest ones.
We were gonna do the 5 of the steepest hills in San Francisco.
5. Yep.
And we did this project. I looked at this hill for 10 years in Canyon Lake, California. And I was always like, man, I want to hang 5 this. And my dream was to go 65 miles an hour on the front wheel. I wanted to go the speed limit of the freeway. And I looked at it for like 10 years, and my athlete manager at the time, Aaron Lutzy, he's a legend. He's like, Hucker, do you have any video projects you want to do? I'm like, geez, I don't know, man. I was like, there is this hill I've always wanted to hang 5. He's like, sweet, we'll get cops there. We'll shut down the road. We'll do all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, this is really happening. I have to do this now, you know? And it blew up. It went crazy. It did super good. And so Lutzy was like, hey, how about we take you to San Francisco and do 5 of the steepest hills? And I'm like, all right, sick. You know, I wasn't able to go 40, or I wasn't able to go 65 on that one. I was only able to go 42.8, I think it was, almost 43, because the hill wasn't steep enough. It needed to be steeper. So he's like, well, let's go to San Francisco. They have some of the steepest hills in the world. Problem with San Francisco is the hills are so uneven and bumpy and potholes. It was so much sketchier than the one I did before. But we didn't do in row the top 5 because like there's a one windy one. You can't do it. It's impossible. And then
It's like the windiest road in the world or whatever.
Yeah. And the steepest, windiest road in the world. And then some of the other ones just had like concrete that was just like sticking up like that high and you would die.
Yeah.
But we did, like we had them in order, the steepest ones, and they were like picked out of like the top 10 or something. But it was the steepest ones that I was able to do. That was terrifying. But, anyway, so back to the question.
There's one part that didn't make the show, right? There's one part that didn't make the show. Can you explain the story of what happened with this?
So they're like, oh, yeah, in San Francisco, it's a nude town. You're allowed to walk around nude, and you can't even get in trouble. And I'm like, really? So I stripped everything down and bombed one of the hills butt naked.
And did the hang 5.
Did the hang 5.
Dong over bar.
Dong right over the bars, basically.
We had a cop there. He was on a motorcycle. And then after I did it, he went to the bottom of the hill and did a wheelie up the hill on his dirt bike. And I was like, this is sick. I love San Fran.
I had no idea San Fran had a nudity policy.
Neither did I. But I was like, well, hey, man, time and place, right?
Yeah.
Kind of now. They filmed it all. I don't know what happened to the footage. You didn't make the edit, but
you did it.
Hey, you know what? I'm a big believer in time and a place, you know. Take every opportunity you get in life because you might not be able to get it again. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to hang 5 down one of the steepest hills in San Francisco naked again in my life.
Just shoes,
You know?
I imagine?
Just shoes. I did have shoes. I don't want bloody toes.
That's like that's a porn star move. Sometimes
Yeah.
you see
Yeah,
just
the
socks
shoes.
or
Yeah,
just
socks
shoes.
and
Yeah, just the socks.
Just the socks.
Just the socks is a
That's a
pretty good
classic move. So while you were just saying that, you previously gave us kind of some incredible advice you received from Fuzzy Hall along the lines of what you're talking about. What did he say to you?
Yeah, he said ride the wave. You know, in any aspect of life, you know, like take the good with the good, take the bad with the bad, learn from it. You know, like you get this wave, and could be the best wave of your life, but it's up to you to make it. If you don't paddle for it, you're never going to get it, you know, and just turn everything bad into positive experience. You know, it took me to break my neck the second time, and I didn't know I broke my neck the first time, but I broke it the second time. Was coughing up blood, I had a contusion in my lung. I fractured my C7, T1 and 2. It's a long story, but you know, I'm sitting in the hospital bed in Australia. I'm like 22 at the time and putting a brace on my neck. And I walked in because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And, you know, that's when reality punched you in the face. And I learned, and I feel like I always appreciated everything pretty good, like from a young age. But that's what made me really appreciate everything. I used to hate it when I would get hurt because I couldn't do other things I loved to do, you know? And I learned a lot from that one. You know, I got to go hang out with my friends. I was traveling so much back then. I got to hang out with my friends and my family when I was home. I got to chill for 2.5 months, 3 months. And, you know, there's good in every bad thing that happens in life. And it's up to you whether you're going to make that or break it, you know.
Mm-hmm. How important that outlook is. You know,
you got to, man. Like, bad shit happens to all of us. It's inevitable. People die, you know, and, you know, just take the good out of it.
Life is short.
Learn from it. Life's short, dude.
You got to get some while you're here, man.
Don't hold back. And if you get the chance to do it naked, send it.
Now, I'm going to...
Maybe. Now, if you're of age.
And it's legal.
Definitely legal.
Okay, we are really excited about our new sponsor, Bubs Naturals. Huh, Buds?
Yes, very excited.
Now, they are a collagen protein company, and Bubs has an incredible story. It was founded by Sean Lake and TJ. We're both avid snowboarders, friends of the snowboard industry, raised by snowboarding, and they made it to honor their friend Glenn, a.k.a. Bubs. Now, Bubs was a ski bum up at Snowbird. He eventually became a Navy SEAL, and he lost his life saving others.
Yeah, if you've seen the movie 13 Hours, it's about Bubs and his crew in Benghazi saving Americans and their story. It's definitely interesting. Check it out.
Great movie. Highly recommend. One thing that's really cool about Bubs, 10% of all of the profits go to charity. Some of the charities like Protect Our Winners, all kinds of charities. Now, I wanted to tell you guys about collagen because that's what this is. This is a collagen protein powder. Now, collagen is basically the glue that holds your body together. It's great for joint health. It's great for muscle recovery. You know, Jeremy Jones broke both of his legs in an avalanche. What's he using to recover?
Collagen.
I see him. I work out with Jeremy. He takes this every single time after he works out, and he is on the mend. I take it after I work out. If you get older, if you're an old head, you want to keep doing it, you got to take collagen. So why not support a great company, and that company's Bubs. If you're interested in picking some up, head on over to bubsnaturals.com. Use promo code BOMBHOLE. How much you save, Buds?
20%.
So again, head on over to bubsnaturals.com. Save 20% using promo code BOMBHOLE. Support a good cause. Support the podcast. And keep going as you're an old head. You want to stay out there. You want to stay out there longer. Get yourself some Bubs.
Yeah, I'm old as shit over here. And if I'm gonna be keeping up with the kids, man, I have to take this, or else I got to take days off. So
That's true.
keep that collagen in the system. You start losing it at 22 is the word.
Jeez, I'm way behind.
There it is.
Sign me up. I'm ready.
And one last,
It's all about recovery.
One last fun fact: nutrition is 70% of overall health and wellness. What is this? This is good nutrition. Okay, let's get back to the show. So one thing that's cool, just side topic, while we're on the subject of health and nutrition, you told me an incredible story about a juice cleanse you did and the effect it had on you, and I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 years ago. I was heavier. I've gone through a lot of phases with health, and I always like fall back off the wagon, but I'm doing better than I've ever done. Still so much room to improve, but I was pretty bigger. I always had a problem with being tired. I could sleep in until 2 o'clock if I tried. At any point in the day, I could lay down wherever I was and fall asleep and take a nap. It could be on a sidewalk with 100-degree weather. Did not matter. I could always lay down, close my eyes, and fall asleep anywhere I was, no matter what. And I also had bad diarrhea a lot, all the time. Like way more often than solid poops. And how did this podcast turn into talking about poop so much?
We talk about
We
poop a
we
lot.
love diarrhea. It's a great
there's
subject.
poops right behind you. It's pretty funny.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Anyways, so my wife's friend, she told me, she's like, oh, yeah, so-and-so just signed up for this holistic juice fast. I made us an appointment. I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. I'm like open-minded. I'm always down to try something new, you know. I'm like, for sure. Like, cool, let's do it. The second those words came out of my mouth, I had to go really bad. Like I was going to drop a load. And this little thing came out. It was only like that big, and it looked like a piece of a vegetable that wasn't fully digested came out. And I'm like, whoa, babe, look at this. Like, that's all that came out. She's like, take a photo of it. So-and-so has to show the lady the photos of what comes out, you know, so she can assess it to see what's going on. Turns out it was a rope worm. And it's like the second she told me she made that appointment for my gut, it knew its life was over and just forfeited, like put up the white flag. Like, I'm done, guys. I'm out. It's been a good run.
This is really going to suck.
And the woman, her name's Kimba. She is awesome. She did the juice fast. She made us the juices we drank every day. It was 3 giant mason jars full of juice, 1 protein juice. We had to do like water colonics twice a week, parasite cleanses, gallbladder cleanse, like a bunch of stuff throughout the course of 30 days. And she said that those take 8 to 10 years to reach maturity. This is what she told me. I never did any of the research, but I'm like, holy shit. And she was like, that's fully matured. So that thing lived in me for that long. And that makes all the sense in the world why I felt that bad for that long. And I'm like, where'd it come from? She's like, have you ever been to Mexico? I'm like, 100 times. I'm like, when I went to China, all I ate was the stir fry on the street carts, like the sketchiest food.
It's
you know,
sketchy. You don't know what you're getting. Yeah.
So I have no idea where it came from, but it was with me for years, and it makes all the sense in the world because about 8 years prior to that, that's where I started having those issues, and I never got it checked out. I was just like, oh, it is what it is. I eat fast food before I go to the trails, you know, and it's just. So that was a big eye opener for me, and I lost a bunch of weight I lost like 30 pounds in 30 days, and I kept it all off for a long time, and then started falling back off and just not eating as clean.
And your energy levels got jacked way back up, right?
Dude, instantly after like the first week, I had all the energy in the world, no foggy mindedness. I was just clear thoughts. I was weak physically because I wasn't getting enough protein. I was eating, like, we had one little like cashew milk or an almond milk that was that big. That's all we got for protein. The rest was all just green, organic, certified organic juices that she would make us. And then I had to drink like 1.5 gallons water at least every day. So anytime you'd be hungry, you just drink water or drink a juice. But the juice actually filled me up. I didn't even crave food at all after like the first couple days. But that was the best thing I ever did for myself health-wise. And you learn a lot about yourself when you're so unhealthy and just, you know, take that leap of faith into being healthy. And it's cool, man.
Dude, that worm.
Well, also the other thing too is we sidebar on that is we all have parasites inside of us.
We all have them.
thousands and thousands of parasites, and if you don't do a parasite cleanse every once in a while, that they suck your nutrients out of your digestive tract. And I haven't personally though. My girlfriend's big on the digestive cleanse and says the parasite cleanse rather, and says it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and it's crazy because literally I could fall asleep anywhere for years.
Just like lay down your energy, huh?
Like literally lay down and just take a nap anywhere, anytime, any day, any place. And yeah, that thing was just sucking all my nutrients out of me. Or I'm sure it wasn't just that one. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, I ate a lot of sketchy things.
Yeah, there's probably more than one in there, huh?
Oh, probably thousands of bad ones. But yeah, so it was really cool. It was a great learning experience. And I started taking my health a lot more serious after that. That was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Also, if you want to be a professional athlete and you want to do it, there's an expiration date. If you want to push that expiration date of pro career, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, like I never took care of my body, and I'm paying for it now. Now I'm finally taking care of it, and I feel better than I have in a long time, but I still have a long ways to go. Like I can't touch my toes on my best day. I never stretched. Yeah. Now I have to stretch every morning and throughout the day. Otherwise I physically can't function, you know? But the collagen thing, I saw the collagen on that. I'm like, collagen and protein? What do we got here?
Yeah. Well, one thing that's cool too, I've heard a great quote, a friend that goes to our gym, he's like strongest guy out of everybody there. And he's almost 50. And I was like, well, what, dude, how do you do this? He's like, well, the things I'm doing now in my 40s are setting me up for my 50s and 60s. The things you do in your 20s set you up for your 30s. When you think about it, what I'm doing today in my 30s is going to affect my 40s. And you look at it on a longer, bigger picture thing. And it makes sense like that. If you want to be able to do shit for longer, you got to do it while you can.
Yeah.
So
and you have to push it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can't half-ass it. You got to go all out and make it count every time.
Absolutely. Let's change gears because you're a SoCal kid. I want to dive into your extensive surfing skill set. This guy, have you seen him in his surf footage, Buzz?
I haven't.
Dude, he literally looks like fucking Rob Machado out there.
yeah.
He's getting fucking
crap,
he's
dude.
getting shacked.
I heard him on a podcast.
I am a kook. I just like to pull into closeouts.
Dude, okay, one thing we're going to put on the screen here is there's a viral clip of him dropping into a bomb, okay? And he gets closed out, and then his board shoots like fucking out of frame 40 feet in the air. And it is the most insane clip.
The wave just closes out on him.
Dude, but we talked about this earlier, and you mentioned that you're like, yeah, like what's your mentality when you pull into a wave that's definitely going to crush you?
You know, there's things in life you can't pay money to get, you know, like there's there's feelings you get in life, and just pulling into a closeout and having that $1 million view, you can't pay for that, you know, and it's going to work you and you're going to pay for it.
You do this on purpose.
Yeah.
You might get a barrel though. There's a
but
1% chance.
There's a chance of a barrel.
You're definitely gonna get a barrel.
There's more than
there's
a
a moment of a barrel.
1% chance. There's like sometimes it's like a really good chance.
Yeah,
and I don't just pull into closeouts, but if there's a huge set coming and there's 50 guys on one wave and they're all going for it, I'm not gonna paddle battle to maybe get a good one. I'm just gonna be like, all right, you guys go for it. Nobody wants that one because it's gnarly. Sign me up. You know,
So sick.
and dude, like most of those waves that, like the wedge, for example, there's some epic waves there. And I do get some really good ones too. But if a set's coming in and everybody's like scratching shoulders, I'm like, dude, I don't want to freaking burn somebody right now. I'm like, go for it. I'll get the next one, you know? And I don't know. There's just something very humbling. I mean, you know what it's like being out in the country, like, are you going to get an avalanche? Are you going to survive? You know, like you're going to go drop off this giant cliff. There's 8 feet of powder. Odds are you're going to be fine, but you might not, you know, and it's scary. Your adrenaline's pumping, but you get through it one way or another. Mm-hmm. And that's the payoff with pulling into big barrels for me, you know, like I want that vision. And then you get ragdolled, and sometimes you're like I've had times where I'm like, shit, dude, I'm like out of air, like going like that in your throat, and then you pop up and you're just so thankful, you know, you're like, dude, I just did that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just so humbling. There's
a lot of life lessons
you can't
in the
describe
ocean.
it, you know.
The ocean, and we talked about this on the car ride back from Woodward, but you were mentioning that the ocean is kind of your form of, would you say meditation or spirituality? I don't remember the verbiage you used.
All of it, dude. Yeah. To me, the ocean's a very spiritual place. It connects me. It just grounds me, you know, and it's just so peaceful out there, and you could have the worst day of your life and you can go surf and not even think about it once, you know, or go free diving or do anything. It's just it's like what the mountains are for people, you know. The mountains are like that for me too, but to be out in nature and know that, you know, is a bear going to get you today? A mountain lion? Is a shark going to fucking eat me? It's just, it's a very special place.
I think also the mentality is like, you know, you're known for shredding waves, and you're also kind of the guy that's not afraid to pull into one that might just absolutely rock you. But the thing that I think the lesson that's cool there is that like most people are scared to death of a wave crashing on them, and you know you're getting thrashed. You're under the water, and you just seem to have this great mentality to just accept it and be like, I'm on for the ride, right?
Yeah, dude. It's a roller coaster underwater. You could get hurt. Odds are you're not gonna get hurt, but just go with it, man. You're in the palm of Mother Nature, and she's just doing whatever she wants, and you're just along for the ride, dude. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Embrace the uncomfortable struggle, because I'm out there, I'm so tense and tight, and I have a hard time finding that embracing that when I'm getting that struggle. But it's a beautiful thing, and it seems like you've done that with your. It's kind of carries over to biking and things like that too.
Yeah,
right?
you know what's crazy? One of the turning points in me surfing, like I was on the surf team in middle school and high school, and my best friend Logan, his dad was like a ripper surfer, and I remember like surfing. I'm like a sophomore, maybe freshman in high school, and like I'd go on waves and I'd always get that feeling. I'd fall, I'd be like scared, like am I gonna drown, you know? And I remember we're in the jacuzzi and we were surfing that day and it was big and I was like kind of scared out there. And Mitch looked at me, he's like, why are you scared? I'm like, I don't know, I just don't like being held under. He's like, how long were you really under for? 4 or 5 seconds? 6 seconds? Maybe 10 max? 10 seconds underwater for people that aren't comfortable with the ocean feels like eternity by the way,
Yes.
when you can't control what's going on. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, I guarantee you could hold your breath for a minute in the pool right now if you try. And ever since he told me that, like, that fear went out. Like, it's still there, and it has to be there. Otherwise, bad things happen. Like, you have to have fear. But you have to respect it and embrace it, you know? And it's, ever since he told me that, I kind of stopped worrying about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, I got this. Mm-hmm. And it, I don't know. I started charging a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I also like earlier you were talking about how your older brother is kind of, I don't want to use the word reef chief, but kind of he seems to be the guy on the break that is like he's like making sure things are in line.
Yeah, right? He's been bodyboarding wedge for like 20, probably 30 years now, probably close to 30 years, and he was the guy that you don't mess with. He's the guy that if you're some guy, you could be from there or not from there, he'll give everybody the same treatment. If you're out there and you're just going on every wave, not giving other people a chance, burning people's the worst thing you could do, but just not being respectful, he's going to tell you to get out and come back next season, you know? And he's the one that will make sure that he's the one that will put you in your place. And so I knew that going into it, and I knew how it worked, and he treated me the exact same way. He was cool to me, but he's like, don't you burn anybody out here. And so I was scared as shit. You know, it's one wave at the wedge, and all I could think about is, oh my gosh, is there somebody behind me? So that's what started freaking me out, was I was scared to burn somebody because I'd have to deal with him. And then I was like, oh man, nobody goes on the closeouts.
I love that.
This is sick. I go on any one of those I want. And so that's what made me start doing it, you know? And then I'm like, dude, you get the $1 million view right there. Like, money can't buy that. I get any one of those I want that nobody wants to go on. This is awesome. Sign me up. And everybody thought I was crazy, but I was like, dude. But to me, that was how I could get any wave I wanted, you know? So I just turned those crappy waves that nobody wanted because they're just gnarly.
The best part that's when somebody's going on a closeout, you're like, God damn, like he's really going. I'm like, he's really going on that one. Like,
dude, I get that. Yeah, and like I don't surf wedge as much as I used to. I used to surf there back in high school, every South Swell. I've only surfed there a couple times over the past couple of years, but every time I surfed there, it counted. It was really good days, really good days.
So would you consider yourself a seaman? A man of the sea?
I don't like labels. I don't like labels.
So let's talk about your seamanship here.
Seamanship,
which one?
Huh?
Well, you're also into, earlier you made it very clear you like whacking fish. I know you deep dive into the ocean and you put a headlamp on at night and go snag lobsters.
No, just a tiny little hand light.
Oh, it's a hand light.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I use the smallest one. Like I've had the big one where the light's like that big, way too big. It scares the lobsters. I just like a little. I like a little light that's that big. The lens is like that big.
Explain what this is for the people that are unfamiliar.
Free diving for lobster.
Yeah.
And we go at night, and it's just so sick, dude. You're hunting. You're literally hunting. And there's some nights where they see the light and they dart in the holes. There's other nights where they're just everywhere, and you can just pick them off. And it's a very cool thing. And just being one in the ocean, you know, like you're out there and Mother Nature's
You're not
grass.
scared of sharks at night?
Yeah, there's been times where I've been spooked, you know, and I do believe that all those times I did get spooked. Maybe not all of them, but I got spooked for a reason.
Yeah, like you know something's
Dude,
there.
your instincts happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether it's anywhere, anything you're
Trust
doing in
your
life,
intuition.
trust your intuitions. And like here's a great example. I have two great examples. One time I'm diving and the visibility was crappy. It was really murky. And I'm down there and I'm like 25, 30 feet down and I could see like from here, maybe from here to that window away, from here to the cameras away. And you ever see the movie Deep Blue Sea?
I remember that one.
You know the
Classic.
part where the guy's in the stretcher, he's getting brought up in the helicopter, the shark gets it, brings him down,
Yep.
and then they like throw him into the windshield or into the glass. He comes off, and then he's like floating, and then the shark just comes out of nowhere and just swoops him up. I had that vision when I'm like right off the bottom of the floor. It's murky. I just had that, and it was very distinct and defined, and it freaked me out. And I was like, what the heck? It felt like I was being hunted. And I go up, and my buddy bar spinner, he's like, Hucker. He's screaming bloody murder. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, do you see that right in front of you? And I look, and no shit, 6 feet away, there's a dead seal filled up with gas just rotting.
Oh,
And I'm like,
shark food.
this is weird. How did I just happen to have that feeling like in my heart? I felt it. And then I come up and my friend's screaming at me because there's a dead seal that's full of gas that's rotting on the surface. And so I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go in? He's like, I don't know if we should go in, but we should get away from that. And I'm like, all right, good call. So we like swam off and we continued our dive and it was awesome. That was the first time. The second time, we always used to go to the backside of Catalina Island. We go to the spot called Shark Harbor. And you could surf there. You camp right on the beach. You can go hiking. It's epic. So there's Shark Harbor and Little Harbor, and there's a giant rock that separates them two. And they're not very big. And out on the point, we're spearfishing. Well, I'm spearfishing. He's in like 100 yards. He was chasing barracuda, and it's September time. So I know there's probably for sure yellowtail out there, maybe white sea bass. And I got like this big old gun. I'm in the kelp. It's like 50 feet of water. And I didn't see a single fish for like 30 or 40 minutes. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? The only fish I saw was a calico bass, and it was a baby. It was that big. And something just felt weird, and something in my head, I'm down like probably 30 feet, and something in my head's like, oh, just go outside the kelp. Maybe there's something out there. There's nothing in here. And I turn around, and there's a freaking great white sitting right at the edge of the kelp just staring at me.
What?
And I freaked out, and I went up and got air, and I came back down, and the second I made eye contact with it again, it turned away super slowly, and that's when I saw the girth on it and the mass of it. Because when it's staring straight at you, you don't know how big it is, you know? And I freaked out. I went up for air, came back down like 10 more times, didn't see it again, and then I started like getting mind games. I'm like, did you really see a great white? And then I saw kelp like way back farther, but it was in really deep water. I'm like, oh, maybe it was just the kelp. Maybe it was just the kelp. But your instincts happen for a reason, dude. Something told me, oh, go outside, see what's there. I turn around, it's just staring at me.
That's
Like-
crazy.
So Buds talks avidly on this podcast about his biggest fear. What is it, Bud?
Sharks, dude. So paranoid. I can be in a freshwater. I can be in a pool, and I'm like scared.
I would rather
Sharkphobia.
I would rather be in the water with my snorkel gear on with a great white than being chased by a mountain lion any day of the week.
Damn.
Any day of the week.
And you even I would have panicked out of there, as far out of there, and you like went back down to look at it and see.
Oh, I wanted to make sure it was still there, and then I didn't see it again. Then it was
You know
crazy.
what's the cool thing about this though too? I also think that we are a very old species. Like we're fucking old. We've been
Not
here,
as old as sharks.
but not as old as sharks. You're right. They're goddamn dinosaurs. But we've been here for a long time, millions of years, right? So you look at only in the past few hundred years have we gone away from our hunter-gatherer self, right?
Dude, we're not grounded with the earth anymore.
You're not grounded with the earth. And so one thing that is really interesting, like I don't talk about it because I respect that people are vegetarians and I think if that actually checks the same box. If you harvest your own food, you have a garden, it's awesome. You're like, this is incredible. If you like to eat and that calls you, I understand. But I hunt and I rarely talk about it because I understand it upsets people. And if that upsets you, that's okay. I understand. But I've always wondered why do I get so excited? Like I will wake up at 4:00 in the morning and like before my alarm, to go before my alarm.
5 minutes before it goes
Dude,
off every
and
time.
I'm like, God, I'm so excited, right? And I think that there's something deeply innate in us as hunter gatherers are old
There's animals on the earth.
There's animals that when you go down and you get that lobster, it's exciting. When you pull in a fish, when you kill an animal and you eat the meat, and I understand if you're uncomfortable with that. Like, same goes for gardening. It's a hunter gather. We gathered food. That's a big part of how we grew up as well. So like, in that sense, I think that it's really cool to connect to that deeper spiritual, like, we're animals. We think we're really just freaking monkeys with computers. You know what I mean? That think we're smart. Like, oh, I got my important business job and I do my computer. It's like,
yeah, but are we? We're all stressed out
Yeah, exactly.
on making money.
Yes.
Not even about what matters, and that's being present,
Yes.
Like, we have all these distractions in life. One of the craziest experiences I've ever had in my life was through Red Bull, actually. We did a performing under pressure camp. And Johnny and Angel Collinson?
Unfamiliar.
They're skiers.
Oh, I know John Collinson.
John.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
So him and his sister Angel were there.
Yep.
Ian Walsh, he's like a pro big wave surfer. There's a bunch of guys, all different sports. It was crazy. So there's like 6 of us, and we did all these crazy things to perform under pressure. And one of the things, they hired Wim Hof to train us. Have you heard of Wim Hof?
He's got the breathing techniques, cold water, all that stuff.
A lot of different stuff. And we had Navy SEALs training us their stuff. We had the people from Cirque du Soleil train us how to control our emotions and run through them from 1 to 10, scale 1 to 10 on a point like that. And teaching us how to run your emotions, and it's all stuff we're grounded with Earth. It's all part of us that we're gifted with being an animal here on Earth. We have all these things that we don't understand. We don't even know how to use them because we've been so blinded by life and society, And one of the things Wim Hof said was, we're nothing more than animals, and we've completely lost touch with our animal instincts and how to be one with the earth. There's people that could do it. Native Americans can do it. The Aztecs could do it. The what are they called in Australia? The
Aboriginal.
The Aboriginals. Yes. The true Aboriginals. They're grounded with it. They understand the earth, how everything works. In the society we live in, we are so far from that.
Yes.
And we have all these instincts for a reason. We just don't know how to use them.
Yes.
And I started studying breath a lot after that. I had a crazy awakening just through breathing, dude, where it blew my mind. It was it was the craziest experience I've ever had just from breathing. No drugs, nothing.
Well, all those things like that when you take drugs that you access, they're all inside of us already. I mean,
dude, they're inside you.
They're
They just
already
unlock
there.
it.
You just and you might get a little glimpse of it when you're in some type of flow state. You might get these glimpses of it through hallucinogenics,
You don't need them though.
But they're
Just
all
gotta
in there.
breathe.
Yeah, totally. And then
Breathing got you feeling like hallucinogenics?
Bro,
I've heard this from a lot of people too.
It's so crazy. People think I'm crazy. I don't even care what people
who
think.
gives a
But
shit?
what happened to me was, we're breathing. He's got tribal music. He's like yelling at us, cussing at us. He basically got us to release the DMT in our brain, and he's putting you in your darkest hole imaginable. Forget everything you've been taught. Forget your name. Forget your parents, where you come from, everything. And then he's like, find that deepest spot in the back of your brain. Release the DMT. All this stuff. And we're like hyperventilating. We're breathing like this, which I find out years later through this book I read. We did that for like 30 minutes. And he's explaining everything that's going on through our body as it's happening, step by step, play by play. And he's like, when I tell you to, I want you to completely exhale. He's like, you've pumped so much oxygen into your body that you don't need any air in your lungs. He's like, I want you to completely exhale and hold your breath. And I guarantee every one of you will hold your breath for at least 3 minutes with 0 oxygen in your lungs, or air in your lungs. And so we're holding our breath, and he's telling us all that same shit, like release DMT, all this stuff. And I was holding my breath so long, I started getting scared. Like I literally thought I was going to die. And if I didn't take a breath, and I fought it, and he was like, just fight it. He's like, your body is so much more capable of anything you could even dream of. he's like, fight it. Don't you take a fucking breath. And I'm fighting it and I'm fighting it. And then he's like, all right, whenever you're ready, you can take a breath now. And I fought it for a while after that. I'm like, fuck that. I ain't taking a breath yet, you know? And, yeah, dude, it was crazy. And I got so terrified, man. I got so scared. I literally got to the point to where I was so scared if I didn't take a breath, I was going to die. And I took a breath and I got so sad and depressed because I didn't realize it until I took that breath. But the second I took the breath, I realized wherever I was before I took that breath was the most beautiful place I could ever dream of, like heaven. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. And, you know, and then I got like really bummed. I'm like, fuck, dude, like I was there, whatever it was. I got to that point, and then I took a breath and it was all over, you know? And the girl next to me, she's a triathlete. She has like a resting heart rate of like 40 beats a second, you know? And so then we're talking about it and they're like, what did you experience? And I was like, dude, like total ecstasy, like the definition of ecstasy, like whatever that could
Pure
be, like
bliss.
pure bliss. And total fear, you know? And the girl next to me, she was like, it felt as if I was having the most intense orgasm imaginable and being chased by a grizzly bear at the exact same time.
Wow.
So we all had our
Sounds
own...
like the gamut of all the emotions that
Dude,
are in the
yeah,
body, the high and the low at the same
everything,
time. Yeah.
Everything. And you don't realize it until you take that breath. And then it's over.
And that was all through Wim Hof.
All through Wim Hof. That was just one thing. So I found out years later, I read this book called Breathe. It was a great book that I always feared dying, you know? And I never even realized that until I'm reading this book. I'm like, holy shit, like it took this long to figure that out. And I don't worry about it anymore because wherever I was, I feel like I was staring at death right in the face. And it was gorgeous, dude. It was beautiful. I don't want to die anytime soon. I want to live my life to the fullest. But dude, when it's over,
Dude, so
it's over, dude. It's cool. Whatever. It's a part of life, and every part of life is beautiful. You know,
we're all gonna get there.
every part
you
of
can't
life
fight
is
it.
beautiful.
It's like getting held under the wave. You don't fight it.
Exactly.
You don't, and you just accept it. And once you accept that you're not in control, there are things you can control. But most of it, you're just on a fucking wave. You're on a ride. It's going to take you where it's going to take you. It might close out. It might not. But on the lines of what you said, that jumpsuit over there belonged to a man named J2, who's a legendary pro snowboarder. Now, we've talked about it. Our listeners will be familiar with this story. But Eastone was there. He had a kind of he had a bout with cancer, and he battled. And towards the end, a lot of our friends were around him in the hospital. And Easton, you should kind of explain the experience that
we basically saw him laying there with like one foot into the next world, and he started having a conversation with somebody, and he's like, "You're the guy that made the mountains, huh?" And then just had this crazy conversation and kept kind of coming in and out of it, but looking through us and like just having this crazy talk. And we were just like, damn, it kind of made me walk away being like, dude, there's definitely something else going on.
Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, I grew up going to Christian school, all this stuff, and I believe that everybody needs something. You know, that could be church for some people. It could be mountains. It could be the ocean for others. Whatever it is, I believe everybody needs that spirituality.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is, but everybody needs to have faith in something. Because without faith, dude, like, how could you have passion if you don't have faith in what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Or how could you have faith with no, like, it's just, it
exactly.
all goes hand in hand, you know?
Seeing him have this conversation, too, there's, like, no doubt in my mind that someone was, like, leading him and taking him on the next step of whatever happens after you die, you know?
But another thing that's kind of interesting, too, along these lines is, you know, I look at, I have two grandmothers that both passed on both sides. Now, my grandmother from Canada, she was Catholic, not very religious, but went to church, spiritual, you know? And then my grandmother from Quebec, or she's from Ontario, and then my other grandmother's from Quebec, and she's kind of anti-church, kind of not a religious person, not a faith, person of faith. Both incredible people, God, incredible humans. But as they were coming to the end of their life, they, you know, my grandmother on my dad's side, the one that's not religious, she fought it. It was a struggle. It was just a total just dogfight for her at the end. And then you take my grandmother that was spiritual, and she went out peacefully and accepted, and it was, and so obviously religion is a very touchy. You can believe whatever the hell you want to believe. It doesn't matter. But the thing that I think that's important about some of these things is believing that you're not in control is the main thing. You're not. There's forces that we can't control what the fuck's gonna happen. We could walk out, get hit by a car, get in our car, like you
Hit by lightning.
You get hit by lightning, like crazy things happen, And if you're just like, shit, I mean, I can control some things, but I'm just here for the goddamn ride. Like, let's, and I think that's cool stuff to once you kind of let go and realize you're not in control, life gets a little easier. You're like, shit, this is
I think that's one of the reasons we gravitate toward what we do as well. Mine's always being outside. Yours, everything you do, being in the mountains, and it's, whether you believe it or not, I don't care either way, but something I believe created everything. It could be God, it could be, solar systems clashing or whatever it could be, but something created all this, and we are here to be a part of it. And worst case scenario, turn into worms, and the cycle keeps going,
Yeah.
And you can't fight it, dude. And I remember, like, when I was a little kid, like, it was when we were like invading Iraq and all that stuff. And then there was threats of missiles. I remember like screaming and crying, like, we're going to die. My mom's like, Mike, we're not going to die. Yada, yada. But then after reading that book also, there's this thing called rebirthing, and it triggers like some type of trauma from childhood or possibly a past life or something. So after reading that book years later, what I believe is that fear I had of always dying came from like being a little kid and hearing that shit on the news and just being terrified as a little kid, And it's so crazy how everything comes around full circle in one way or another. And I don't have to worry about it. This took a total spin for something.
But this is fun. This is actually good
this
conversation.
Is real life.
This is real life shit.
Do you remember the author of that book, Breathe?
I don't.
We'll look it up.
I can find it
in the
out.
show notes.
It's cool, and the lady that writes it, she is a healer from Norway or Sweden or something. And like, I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning of the book, I was like, this is kind of kooky. Like, she's talking about healing people and all this stuff. Then it goes into like the power of earth and breathing and all this stuff. And it was a great read. I don't read a lot of books, and I would read that one again.
That's awesome.
Another one called The Art of Water. This Chinese scientist was like a full scientist, stopped studying everything except for water after he started studying water. And he took these, like, you guys have probably heard of it. Basically, everything in life is ran off vibrations.
Yeah,
positive,
I love this
negative
stuff.
vibrations and stuff. And he took 2 glasses of water and did a study, and he would look at them through microscopes. And, a normal water molecule looks like a perfect snowflake, perfectly symmetrical, gorgeous. So he took 2 bottles of water, and one of them said positive words to, the other one said negative words to. And the positive one, beautiful, right next to each other. And then the molecules in the negative one were all just deformed and just jacked up and like mutated and crazy. And then he starts going into, our body is mostly water. If we're putting bad energy like that out into the world, we're taking that back in, and it all goes off to positive vibrations, And I read that book, and I'm like, holy shit, like, this is all stuff that I've always kind of done. Like, I've never had it like laid out in front of me, and it's like, wow, I wondered, like, how the hell did I come up on that? Like,
Well, let's
sense.
dive into.
it makes total sense, positive vibrations.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a negative Nancy.
100%. And you can really, like, if you're keen to it, you can feel the vibrations. Let's take for example, you're in a room, everything's going good. All of a sudden, 2 people with opposite political views start talking. All of a sudden, the vibrations in the room, it is like a toxic energy. You're like, oh my God, this is like, and you can tell, like dogs, for example, a dog. Take a dog. They can feel that. They might start, their body language just gets crazy. Their tail starts tucking. They don't know.
I'm out of here. He's going to drag his butt out.
And then they're out. They don't know. They don't even know what we're talking about. They don't speak English, but they're like, there's some fucked up energy going on here. I'm out, Then you take then you get like a group of good friends together, and you're all just kind of just like vibing, right? You're like, fuck, that's the corniest term ever, but you really are. You're like, dude, the energy's crazy. You can pick up on the energy at a concert versus the energy at a riot, or the energy at, you know, the negative energy versus positive energy. I know we're getting into some woo-woo-y fucking crunchy shit.
Yeah,
but
this just got deep.
but-
on this. Brought
but-
Wim Hof and total
Dude, I think these are real topics.
It's sick though, yeah.
But you look, especially whether it's political or with the pandemic, things are so charged, and you just, when I see that charged conversation about these things, you're just like negativity, and it's like, and that breeds even more, you know, that breeds like mental. We don't need to go all the way into this, but that negative energy is real, and it's definitely
100%.
something to be cognizant of, and surround yourself with people that radiate like the right energy. You want.
Negative people just attract negative events too, and you can see that happen in their lives.
Yeah.
Just follows them around with their negativity.
Yeah, and they're always worried about it, and they're like, they know it's coming. They're attracted, and it's crazy.
Well, let's pivot. What do you guys say?
Sign me
What
up.
about,
Let's do it.
we need to do another ad read, don't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
We'll pay one more bill.
We actually have a brand new theme song. I actually forgot that I made. Basically, consider me like Scott Storch in the fucking audio
Storch.
department. So here we go. This is the Pub Beer Crapshoot theme song.
Welcome to the Pub Beer Crapshoot.
That's Dave Chappelle saying clackety, 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 clack. Now, Buds.
Some smooth beer right there.
Yeah. Pub beer. Cheap, fun beer. If you're going to grab a cold one on this beautiful summer, late summer time of year, early fall,
Really any season.
any time of the year,
Beer goes good with any season.
grab yourself a case of cold ones. Get yourself a case of pub beer. Support the podcast. They support us. You should support them. And it's also very affordable.
Cheap fun beer.
Is it delicious?
It's delicious.
Yes. It's also cheap. It's also fun. It's also beer.
And it's also beer.
Would you, how fun, on a
That's
level,
all you need to know, right?
on a level of 0 to 10, how fun is that beer?
It's about the most fun I've ever had.
Wow. Okay.
In my
You're
life,
having
probably.
the most fun I've seen you have all day. And we've had a lot of fun.
And we've had fun.
So for the pub beer crapshoot, basically what you do is you roll a number 2 through 12. You roll 2 dice. They're right in front of you. Yeah. Whatever it lands on, you have to do one of these. I guess that would be 11 items, if my math is correct.
Yeah, there's
So
no
2
one.
dice?
There is no one.
Yep.
One hand, two.
Yeah, however you
up
want to
to
do
you.
it. Yeah, dealer's choice. I guess roller's choice.
A little luck.
What'd you get?
Trace.
Trace. What would your house party entrance theme song be?
It's a great question.
Sugar Ray, I just want to fly. Wow. I don't know why that just came to my mind right now.
So California of you. Love it.
Love that. Dude, let's talk about BMX music for a second here. Because I grew up, the first thing, I was doing some research for this, and I watched about a handful of BMX video parts. I noticed a lot of like hair metal. A lot of metal.
Yeah, lots of heshing going on.
And then a
Lots
lot of
hesh.
growing up, we went to a skate park. I had an indoor park in Massachusetts where I grew up. A lot of BMXers went there, and there was a jukebox there, and they would always play, oftentimes back to back to back, Leonard Skinner Freebird. Do you want to elaborate on the BMX music choice? Just curious about that.
Yeah, it's a very distinct sound for the sport, I feel like. No, like back in the day, we had like the props and the road fools and all that stuff, and they always had like the same style music. So now when I'm older, anytime I hear that, it takes me back to being a Grom, watching those videos, you know, and it's pretty sick. But there's definitely different styles of music for different videos, different styles of riding and stuff. A lot of the bowl guys, they love that hesh, just metal, just
Mullet flapping in the air.
dude, yeah. Like the guys, the Fast and Loose guys, those guys are sick. My boys, they started this thing called Fast and Loose, and they would just go on road trips and camp out in their vans and just hit up like freaking 20 parks or 30 parks in a couple weeks. And they'd just camp out at the skate parks and just live in a van and not shower. And they're so hash now. They've created a whole brand. It's called Fast and Loose. It's blown up. They have collabs with vans, and they're doing it good. Chris Fox, all the guys on the team have actually won the Vans Pro Cup Bowl Series. Every guy on the team. So
Damn, rippers.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pretty much the best bull riders in the world.
What do you think they got?
So sick.
AC/DC in their headphones? What do you think they're
No
blasting?
way, just like screaming, just
scream.
death
Oh,
metal.
it's even
they
way
go straight to death.
Oh, it's
like crazy.
like with
stuff
that
like
theme song we
Yeah.
had, kind of similar. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the subject of music and video parts, if you guys are unfamiliar, maybe a BMXer coming over to watch this, we have a section called Name That Video Part.
Oh, crap, I'm gonna fail. Oh, it's No, it's not.
Yeah, that's that's just the
gonna
theme
say
song.
it's
So you
the-
don't,
That's the theme song.
it's a theme song. You don't have to guess
Who
yet.
is the guy?
The Price is Right?
The price is wrong, bitch.
Price is Wrong.
That you may that
Pat
might be
Sajak.
Was that it? Bob Barker.
there it is.
Bob Barker.
Yeah,
Bob Barker.
that's actually. I'll give you a correct on that.
Yeah, he might have just won.
he already won before we started, which is great.
I'm not gonna win the rest of these. I don't watch enough videos growing up.
Well, so what's your confidence level 0 through 10? We like to ask our guests.
-10.
Wow.
That's
Like-
our lowest.
Well,
I love
okay.
that.
Well, here's the thing. My memory sucks. Back in the day, all my friends had biking videos. That's what they wanted to do, and I was always more like, "It's Saturday. Why do you want to watch a video? Let's go ride," kind of guy, you know. And I've definitely seen videos.
Yeah.
But they all kind of like, not all of them. Like there's some from like when I was a little kid. I'll never forget. But they all kind of just, I don't know what tricks or what clips are from what videos and stuff. A lot of them.
Well, let's see how you do.
let's
Here,
see.
here at the Bomb Hole, we like to preserve video part culture. We think it's important.
It is important.
Call me,
I
call me
failed
old, call me
that
old fashioned.
department. No, it is super important.
let's see how you do. Here we go.
Great song. Couldn't tell you the video.
Yeah, he looks bewildered.
Yes.
Okay.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your
Billy
soul.
Madison.
Oh, we'll give you a correct for that.
he gets a credit.
You got the soundbite correct. So that is
You got the intro
Van-
song, the soundbite.
Van. I believe his name's Van Homan. And that's a video part he had to AC/DC Thunderstruck. I watched it. It's unbelievable, by the way.
Was that Fit? A Fit video? Does it say on
I
your
have it.
list?
I can tell you after the show, but I forgot the name of it. But it was he had a really iconic original part. That one I couldn't find the song to, and this is a more recent part from him. But what you got yourself for getting the soundbite to Billy Madison correct, not the video part. You got yourself a Bomb Hole prize pack. It's a Bomb Hole cooler. From our friends at Igloo, filled with Bomb Hole merch. You probably got a coffee mug. You got some T-shirts. Also, all the things in.
Whoa, it's loaded.
What
in
size
there.
shirt you wear?
Sick. A large.
I think you
Booyah.
got a large in there.
You got
yeah,
larges.
all of the items in there.
Thanks
He's
for
got
having me, guys.
Bomb Hole stickers. He's got coffee mugs, shirts. All of these items are available at bombhole.com. Great way to support the
I'm
show.
gonna hold them up and do my Vanna White.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. Yeah, do. Let's do one Vanna White. Which one you got? Maybe you got a coffee mug. Those are on the table. People see those. We got we got a beanie. What do we got? Oh, the camo. Yeah, show them this shirt. Here's a great. Show them. No, you got to show them the logo. That's not a good Vanna White. There it is.
There it is.
Look at that.
Let's put it in front of this.
Yeah, that's great. Bomb Hole camo shirt.
Wow.
Available at bombhole.com. Now,
Thank you, Vanna.
Back after him.
now we're going to do part 2 of Name That Video Part, and this is for our listeners.
Can't believe Van's been like a hero of mine since I was a grommet. I can't believe I blew that one.
Well,
I can't believe I blew that one.
You got Billy Madison right, so that's a win. So for part 2, this is for our listeners. Our audience is generally snowboarders, so we picked a snowboard song. At this point, if you know the song, comment on the picture of Hucker when his Instagram comes out on our page. That's where we pick our winner. Here we go.
Oh, it's from. It's
Is it actually? That's a snowboard video part.
Well, it's also from.
Oh, is it a
okay,
BMX?
so that guy told you about.
Oh, so he might get one.
He made a movie back in the day. It was called. That was the one movie I grew up on.
Yeah.
There's two. It was
And that
and
song was
Taylor.
in there.
That was in it. It was
Oh, wow.
gosh, whose
Look-
part was that? It wasn't. Yeah, but yeah, that was in a BMX video called.
You know what? How about
100%.
this?
What
beep,
snowboard video?
we'll beep out your answer.
Okay.
And because this is for the listeners, they get to comment and guess. So we'll beep out your answer. So if it's a BMX video and a snowboard video, both are acceptable. First one to comment, we'll get the prize.
And
back.
if you want a little bit of old school 1990s dirt jumping roots, go check out online
Okay.
somewhere.
Somewhere.
Oh, Bob Barker. Press strike.
Again.
Dude, killing it now. My odds just got a lot better.
All right, Buds, do you have another Patreon question?
I do have one more.
Serve it
that
up.
I'm dying to ask.
Yeah, serve it up.
This is from Max.
Should we explain what Patreon is for our listeners? So basically, in order to do the show, we have a whole bunch of expenses, and it's basically we're trying to put all of our energy towards it because Buds and I love doing this show, and huge help from our sponsors, huge help from when people buy merch, and then our Patreon. A lot of this podcast is funded by the people, and so you can pay from $5 to $50 a month, and then you basically get behind the scenes look. We did a private Patreon interview with Hucker. We do that with every guest. We do behind the scenes look at the podcast. You get stuff like merch. I could go on forever, but you get the gist of it. You can find a link to it on bombhole.com. Now let's get into a question from one of our Patreon members.
Yeah, we literally could not do this without you guys, so thank you. This is from Max Gomber. What is the correlation between guys wearing tap-out shirts and white flex fit hats riding BMX bikes to the gas station to buy single smokes?
Wait, could you repeat that again?
Don't you see those guys all the time riding around?
Only in Utah.
So you're
Only in Utah? I don't think this guy's from Utah.
No. I don't know, man.
Are they real BMXers, or
No.
are they just going to the store to buy single smokes?
Well,
I
it
think
depends.
that's what
Are
this
their
guy's
bars
wondering.
raked forward like that? They're like riding like that.
You might see those
No,
guys
they
with a
usually know
skateboard.
how to have a little. I usually see them like they know how to bunny hop or
Yeah.
jump around a little bit. Maybe they did in their youth.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's. I don't know.
I think
It's hard to tell. Like I don't like to judge people to begin with.
True, that's a good point.
But it's hard to tell because
It's a great
they're
mode of
all
transportation.
different. It's a great mode.
That's all it comes down to.
If I had to guess from the way I feel like he was asking the question, I'd say those forms of BMXers are using BMX as transportation.
Better than a mountain bike, I guess, if you're inner city as well.
you can do. You
Not
might be able
cheaper
to
if it gets stolen.
Yeah.
True.
Way cheaper.
Those mountain bikes lately.
do a bar spin on it.
Yeah, and you can get rad if you want.
Yeah.
and-
Ride your girl on the handlebars or
Yeah,
the pegs.
Or the pegs. Yeah,
Either
the
way.
homie haulers.
That's probably why they have them,
The
actually,
homie
is for the
haulers.
pegs.
Yeah. They're both on the back for sure.
Yeah.
That's
that makes
awesome.
sense. I think we just cracked the code on it.
Yeah, we did. One other topic that we should talk about that I thought was awesome was watch the video you doing a very janky looking loop.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Wait, which one?
It was a combination of dirt and
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first ever loop I did.
Yeah.
Runke put that whole thing together. Shout out to Ryan Runke.
Yeah, Runke.
He got me to do my first ever loop. And the dirt was, we were trying to do a dirt loop, but it's pretty much impossible to make
Yeah,
an
is that
entire
possible?
loop out of dirt. So we put a dirt jump before it. The bottom half of the loop was made out of dirt. The top was made out of wood. And then there was
made out of rain.
there was a jump after it. And it was huge. I think it was like 18 feet tall or something. Like, it wasn't small, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh, no. I always wanted to do one, but that was a rad project. But right before, they built it, and then they got an absurd amount of rain. And it, like, warped it, so it didn't even work right.
Oh, wow.
So then we had to, like, put some sheets on it to kind of even it out, and, like, it worked out great in the end.
clip's awesome.
But yeah, the clip, that was a really cool experience. And one of the crazy things about that, like, I did that thing probably 50 times each day, and I was the only one riding. And
I was
there
going
like
to
a
say,
whole
were you the
camera
only
crew
one
there.
riding?
And I'm like, when the hell are you at the trails riding by yourself with a bunch of people watching, let alone there's a loop here? I've never ridden a loop before. And it was such a cool experience, but kind of trippy. It was at this guy Jenicor's house in Pennsylvania. He's a legend. He has a BMX racetrack in his backyard. And he does like contests back there and stuff. But they used.
Do you guys throw a little quickcrete in the dirt for that?
Nope.
No, just pure dirt.
Dirt,
Oh wow,
dirt and water.
I was told that there was a little pro tip that sometimes guys sprinkle a little concrete dust in there.
You can.
Or cement.
It just depends. You can. Some people do that. The only problem with that is when it blows out, it's really hard to repair.
Oh, good call.
And dirt will eventually blow out in one way, shape, or form. And
A lot like your pants have been doing a lot of this.
more
this
often
show.
than not.
Yes, just some of the smells I've experienced.
Oh, is that what's going on over there?
It's camp food. I
Yeah.
swear. I'm
I'm
not like
6
this all the
feet
time.
away.
A little
We're
bit of
good.
light sharding going on occasionally.
Light sharding.
So I want to dive back in. Let's go. I'm going to go back deep dive to some stuff we were talking about earlier, because who gives a shit? And we're going to talk about what we want to talk about, right? So earlier we were kind of talking about spirituality and some heavier stuff, and I kind of want to. We're going to steer clear of any church religion talk, but the the one thing that's kind of cool, I will say, that I admire about religion in some senses. I don't go to church, whatever, doesn't matter what my beliefs are, but I think it's cool that people get together every Sunday and they have a community, and they have a community. They have a place where they go and they get together. Now, a lot of us in action sports don't come from a background like that. We don't have those spaces. But I think that those trails, when people get together and dig and have a place where they congregate, a skate park,
skate parks for sure.
Like things that have a community ecosystem. And I'm saying it as it pertains to action sports because that's really all I know. So I'm sure it exists in a lot of other places than this. But those trails are so important to, or like building a sense of community. As a kid, you feel a part of something, right? Those things are huge.
You feel needed and wanted, and you feel like it's a place you're accepted.
Yes.
And that's huge. And that's what a church is, and it's what the trails are. It's what the mountain world is. It's what a coffee shop is to people that are diehard coffee people,
Yep.
Like it's what a bookstore is, or a library to people that love reading books.
Mm-hmm.
And it all goes back to, I don't know, faith.
Yeah, well,
like not faith, but like it's a place you're accepted,
Mm-hmm.
And we all thrive for that feeling. Everybody wants to be accepted,
Mm-hmm.
and so we find those niche areas where we are, and it becomes a part of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like when I'm in the ocean, I'm at one with the ocean, with the surfers around me. When I'm at the trails, I'm one with my friends there. When you guys are jumping off mountains, you're one with the mountain, but you also have your community there supporting each other.
And it ties back into earlier, we're talking about energies with the water, right? And how the negative energy negatively affected water, positive. Those things are also little nucleuses of positive energy. Fucking get some on the whip, on the jump,
Send it,
Yeah, exactly, totally. And one thing that's really cool to talk about is, on this, we've had a lot of people sit in that chair, and it seems more prevalent now more than ever. Like people are struggling from a lot of different issues, be it depression, be it anxiety, be it especially with, pandemic and all these things that are happening in our world, and everything's so charged up. And I find that technology is becoming more and more prevalent, which is amazing. We can FaceTime our loved ones. We can use it for a lot of things that are great, that bring us together.
But we abuse it.
And I think especially the younger generation, I find myself doing this too. You're sitting in a room and you're by yourself and you're staring at a screen and you're scrolling and you're like, oh my God, I have X amount of followers and I'm interacting with all these people on the internet. But when you pull out on that, if you're to look at a picture of what you're doing, you're hunched over like this, staring at like a weird rectangular thing. There's no connect. It's not a real, it's a false sense of connection.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that that's what's so awesome about what we do, and not forgetting to like, yo, you guys are having a hard time. Fuck, go get with your friends. Go fucking do it.
Go scare yourself. You're going to feel really good after, I swear.
And even if you get bodied,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go scare yourself. There's that song. It's Bass something. It's the Sunscreen song. Do you remember that?
I'm not familiar.
Oh my gosh, it's a great song. And it's just him talking to the class of 1999.
Oh, I know that song.
Okay.
And he's like, wear sunscreen. Do one thing every day that scares you.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And it's so true, dude. Like, I've literally done that on I've done it on purpose, where I like just had an off day and just nothing was going right. So I went and I was like just pushing it way too much, and I scared myself. And then I was fine after that, because I realized like that was bothering me all day. I almost just died over here.
Yeah.
Like,
Perspective.
what the heck is wrong with me? Yeah, it's all perspective. And yeah. No.
Kill the hangover
Life's a
too,
trip,
right? That
man.
adrenaline.
Yeah. Yup.
Totally.
Life's a trip.
All this stuff's awesome to talk about. It's fun. It's fun to have these conversations. I mean, I cherish whether these cameras on or off. These are fun things to do. We're fucking connected.
You know what's really fun?
Oh God, he's wafting over us. Johnny,
you are both definitely connected.
Johnny, you
through the
shark.
scent.
I think
Don't send it over.
I might have got a little whiff of a tapeworm in
Just
there
came
too.
up my shirt. Ropeworm.
ropeworm.
I think I
You
smell
can
a little
floss with that one.
Definitely
burnt
a ropeworm.
Holy smokes!
Burnt ropeworm.
Dude,
Okay.
that's 2 weeks of camp food.
Oh yeah.
That'll
Hey.
do it.
It's good living over there. So one thing we do on the show, every episode we do a little segment called Hot Takes. Now, normally it applies to most of our guests are snowboarders, so we usually do the MJ or the GOAT of snowboarding. But in your case, we're going to do the MJ or the GOAT of BMX. And we usually do male and female.
All right, so the MJ, like
Michael Jordan.
Like from the past, current,
whoever it
present,
is to you.
Dave Mirra. Now modern, Dennis Anderson. Dave Mirra, because he was like, I mean, dude, even before Mirra, freaking Matt Hoffman, dude, he invented the mega ramp. He was doing everything before any of that. He built like a 24-foot half pipe.
I remember that. That was sick.
And it was so big you couldn't pump it. So he put a freaking lawnmower engine in his frame and throttled up and was like maxing out, just trying to just figure it out. And he built like a 28-foot quarter pipe and got towed in by a dirt bike on like sheets of plywood that are only that wide, and like just pioneering it, and then so that's what started it. So that, I guess, would be like the Michael Jordan, but the Michael Jordan, is that the best of all time, or is that the guy that was the first best to pioneer the way for the other people to become the best, because like look at Kobe Bryant. They call him the Black Mamba. Is he like was he the modern day Michael Jordan in a sense? Like, yeah, there could only be one Michael Jordan. There can only be one Kobe Bryant. So I guess Kobe would be Dave Mirra.
So who's your LeBron then?
Dennis Anderson. 100%. But with a better attitude.
Okay, I have another topic. And that is why do people not use brakes at the street park?
So brakeless riding is a form of riding that makes you fully connected with your bike.
Oh, this is a spiritual thing.
No, but to some people, probably 100%, dude.
Okay.
So there's no backing out. You're going for it.
Okay.
Like I run brakes because I like to do certain tricks that require brakes. One's like a fufanu where you like stall up on your back wheel on something like a sub box super high and come back in, or a bubica. I like using brakes. I'm old. I'm mid school. I'm like the tail. There's old school, then mid school, and then new school, and I don't even know what the hell the school is nowadays. But I'm like the tail end of mid school, beginning of new school. I still like some of those old school tricks, so I run brakes. A lot of people have mastered most of those tricks without brakes, and I get it. And I go through phases where I take them off because it is really fun. Like there's no backing out. It's sick. But I always end up throwing them back on because I want to do one of those tricks. And then once I throw them on, I just kind of leave them on.
I never thought about that. If you're pedaling into a gap and you're like...
it makes you fully commit.
Yeah, I never thought about the fact that
that's crazy.
Okay, I'm going.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's awesome.
So brakeless is sick. Sorry to cut you off. Brakeless is sick, but I do prefer brakes. I'm sure I'll take them off again at some point, but I always end up putting them back on.
I was genuinely curious because I just am not familiar with BMX in that sense.
Brakes are coming back, though. There's more brakes than ever.
Is it coming back?
Since the 90s.
So another one, I thought we asked this on our Patreon interview. I think it's a great answer. Worst trend, just in general.
In general?
No, you already had an answer for this, talking about on social media there's a trend that you was like the worst best trend ever. And it was in regards to shotgunning a beer.
Oh, yeah, that was the worst, best one ever. Yeah, where you shotgun a beer and then somebody's standing there and you just blowing it, douses them. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
But worst trend ever?
That's also like a best trend.
No,
like
it's the best.
The worst
just
best
worse
trend.
for the person taking it.
See, that's a good answer. That's a great answer.
It is hands down the worst for the people taking it, but the best for everybody viewing it.
For everybody else.
This is great. Okay, so
you?
I don't know if the
I'll be back.
microphone
I need a
caught that.
courtesy wipe.
Go. We had to take a quick break. Hucker may have shit himself. I don't know if the cameras picked that up. I hope they did.
I definitely heard it in my headphones.
I heard it in my headphones.
So one thing we talk about on the show is called Cheddar Bisque, and Cheddar Bisque is
what just
came out. Buds came out. It just came out of your ass. It also can be referred to as money, cheddar, right? So when I look at action sports, it seems as though like some of the other sports appear to make more money than the BMXers. Or is that? I mean, I've heard that from doing research. Is that like? Is the BMX industry like underfunded? Is what I'm asking.
It's hard to say. Yes, I think it's underfunded, but I also think it's oversaturated. There's so many amazing riders out there now, and there's so many companies, but they just divvy it up, give little bits and pieces everywhere,
Okay.
And I feel like this correlates with all action sports, I'm sure the surf industry, the skate industry, like, yeah, there's the top guys that are making really good money. There is.
Mm-hmm.
But the vast majority of them aren't, you know, they still have a job or they're just getting by, you know. I was that guy for, probably 7 or 8 years, like barely getting by. I got paid $500 a month on paper for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do shows and make money other ways, but you know, you can't get by with that. And now it's worse than ever because there's so many amazing riders out there. And I even did it, and I'm part of the problem. You know, you're willing to do something for nothing to make a name for yourself, right? You gotta get your foot in the door somewhere. And when you're a young, hungry up and comer, you want to make a name for yourself. You want to get in. So you put your foot in the door and you're like, yeah, I'll do that. It's like, oh, don't worry about it, you know, like, or whatever, too scared to ask. And if there's any advice I could give anybody, it's just know your worth, you know, like you're putting your life on the line. It's something you love. Yeah. You know, but you're putting your life on the line. There's the people that get all pissed off for people that do it for nothing because it's messing up it's flooding the market, and then they're all grumpy. But it's like, dude, who gives a shit about the money? That's not why we started this. It's just a blessing that we're able to do it, you know? And I've always said this from day one, I would only be a pro biker till it's not fun anymore, because I don't want riding a bike in my career to ruin riding bikes. I want to be able to ride bikes with my kids one day, you know? And I always stood by that. I feel like that helped keep it fun, because I knew, like, once it wasn't, and I've had my moments. I've had tons of waves where, like, you know, I didn't hate it, but I was just so fucking burnt out. And it's only natural, you know, you do something so long, you put your body through torture, you go on these crazy trips where you're away from everybody you love. And out of everything I've learned, it's all about finding balance in life. And balance is key to everything. I'm so thankful. I have an amazing supportive family. My wife is incredible, dude. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, hands down, next to my bike. No, I'm just joking. No, she hands down. She opened my eyes to the big picture. You know, almost 7 years ago when I met her, like, I just saw what I was doing, and that's all I saw. And it was amazing, you know, like, no regrets, wouldn't change it for the world. But then I met her, and my view on the world and life went from this to this, you know, and just know your worth. Don't stab people in the back. Be true, be genuine, and pick somebody up when they're down, man. Like, help out in any way you can in life. With anybody.
It's great advice.
So genuine. And one thing I'd like to rewind back to, because earlier, you know, I think a lot of pro athletes can relate to this in their career, but I'll speak on my experiences briefly. But I used to always say, like, when my life was crumbling around me, I knew I had a good video part. Like, when I put everything I had into snowboarding, like, the bills would stack up and, like, things would be fucked up in my life, and maybe my relationships wouldn't be good, but I'd have that good video part. I'd have those good clips, right? And I don't want to say I prided myself on that, but that was like I almost felt like what it took, right? And as you get older, talking about relationships and family, the word balance, now it's shifted from what we strive for, like what I strive for, and I can't fucking figure it out. I'm working on it. Is that word balance, is finding, I think that's like the black belt move, is like, it's the balance, dude. And sometimes you got to fucking teeter a little bit over in a couple different areas of your life, because that's just who we are as people that like to destroy their bodies. Yeah. But balance is the fucking thing I'm certainly after. Yeah, and do you have any keys to how you've evolved in that?
Breathe. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I'd started doing all that stuff. I'm now a certified breath coach. Just started breathing a lot and just focusing on the art of breath ever since that whole Wim Hof thing. And it changed my life, man. One of the things I do as a breath coach is normalizing your nervous system, stress, anxiety, all that stuff. And, you know, my wife has a super stressful job. She works for one of the largest general contractors in California. And she was just working on a $300 million project. And it was up to her to have everybody do their jobs so the number's right. And everybody's doing it wrong. And she would just be so stressed out. And I would, like, have her. And I always told her from the time I met her, even before I did the Wim Hof thing, she would get, like, revved up because she'd be stressed out at work. I'd be like, babe, take a deep breath. It's the worst thing you could ever tell a pissed off woman or a stressed out woman, you know? And I always told her that. And then she just kind of started doing it, you know, and I'll never forget, she just did this project. This was a couple months ago. The most stressed out I've probably ever seen her in her life. You know, she has a lot of responsibility, and my hat's off to her, man. She just her worth ethic has made me want to do so much better in every aspect of my life. Like seeing her, I learned so much from her, and she says she learns the same for me. How I'm just like kind of zenned out, just cruising all the time. Not cruising all the time, but like I find that balance, you know. And I feel like she struggles with that because she has so much pressure with work. And this one day she was just so stressed out. And I'm like, hey, babe, I just got done. I was like studying to become a certified breath coach. And I'm like, babe, come sit down with me for 5 minutes. That's it. And she's stressed out. And I have her do some breathing methods with me, and we're breathing, and I'm talking her through it. We're done, and it literally took like no more than 5 minutes. I'm like, how do you feel? She's like, I feel awesome. I'm like, awesome. I got to go run some errands. I'll see you in a bit, you know? And I came back like an hour later, and when I came through the carport, I opened the door. The second I stepped foot in the house, I literally felt a different energy in the house, you know? Like I felt it. And I go in there, and I turn the corner, and she's just like this. She's on the computer, all relaxed. This is like an hour after the fact, where before, when she's stressed, she puts her shoulders up like this because she's thinking so hard. She's so tense because her brain's going a million miles an hour. And she's just so relaxed. I'm like, how do you feel, babe? And she looked at me, and she's like, I feel great. Like, from 5 minutes of breathing. Mm-hmm. And it's so like, rad. And so like the whole breath thing, you implement these little techniques of breathing and styles of breathing and just incorporate them not every chance you get, but when you think about it, okay, let's breathe in through our belly, out through the belly. And like, you know, and then you start using that, you create muscle memory with it, then you're breathing normal the way you're intended to breathe. Like we carry so much tense and anxiety and stress from our everyday to life, you know, and we don't know how to manage it. And it's as simple as finding the proper way to breathe how we're intended to as animals on the earth.
Love that. We have a special guest question from what some may consider a mentor to you in some ways, but here we go. We got Fuzzy Hall.
Hucker. Yo, it's Fuzzy Hall here. Hey, Chris, it's pretty cool that you have Hucker on your show. And one of the questions I have, Hucker, is, you know, being a Red Bull athlete manager at the time that we signed your contract, and Luke Seals helped tremendously, along with Ryan Runke. I just wanted to, like, you know, let you know you've lived up to every bit of what I thought you would be. You know, you're not a very contest-oriented rider, even though you love contests. I think people love you for your riding style, your creativity, and I think a lot of that comes from your surfing background, and you can also skate. I mean, good hell, you're talented at everything. But just, I guess the question is, do you feel like you've fulfilled everything that we asked of you, like in the Red Bull contract? And not just that, personally, like I feel like you've been so much fun to like work with through the years, go on road trips. Hell, I won't even go on a road trip without you. So that's part of my contract from here on out is if I ever have to do a road trip again, you're going. So anyway, that's my question is, do you feel like you've done all of those obligations, you know, with Red Bull and had fun doing it? Thanks all. Lates.
Wow. That was pretty heavy hearing that come out of Fuzzy's mouth. That was cool. Gosh, man, before I answer this, it's you know, it's crazy. So I remember I was in high school and I found out Red Bull sponsored a chess tournament, like the board game chess. I'm some like 15-year-old in freshman year, and I'm like, that's so stupid. Why would they do that? And then I thought about it. I was like, dude, they literally sponsor every event across the board that doesn't have to do with animals. You know, like they give a platform for everybody to excel in their passion. And I'm like, no one ever, like I thought about it, I'm like, dude, this is before I ever thought I could actually be sponsored. And I remember telling myself, I'll never ride for a company unless it's Red Bull. Never thought it would happen in a million years. And the way it happened was just so organically and with fuzz, and it was crazy. But I feel like Red Bull has done so much more than I could have ever dreamed of for me. For them, I'm so thankful for everything they've included me in. A lot of fun stuff. I'm gonna keep pushing as long as they want to support me. I do wish I did more. I feel like I've done a lot with them, but you know, Red Bull is the only company where they will give you every tool you could imagine to be the absolute best you could be at what you want to do, and they'll never force it on you. They'll be like, we have these gyms, we have personal trainers, we have psychiatrists here if you're having head problems. Like, oh, you got knocked out, let's go scan your brain to make sure you're good, you know? They'll lay it all on the table, and they'll say, it's up to you to pick and choose what you want. And I'm so grateful for every bit of them. There's a lot more I do wish I have already done, or I wish I could have already done, but that was me just being younger and just kind of being like, oh my gosh, like we're doing this, and just not thinking ahead, you know, just living in the moment. So to answer his question, in my younger years, I do wish I thought more ahead instead of just the present.
Mm-hmm. But you've done some really cool projects with them.
Oh, dude,
that's awesome.
Some dream projects with them.
It's just sick that Red Bull does that for all their athletes.
Dude, it's
just the
so
coolest
sick.
things.
I'm so
In all
thankful
the
for
sports, like you're
everything.
saying.
I'm so thankful for everything they've not only done for me, but what they do for every one of their athletes.
Yeah, the fact they have psychiatrists for you. I mean, in today's world,
I don't know if that's the right word, but like if you need
just
counsel,
coaches,
mental coaches. Like
Yeah.
if you are struggling something mentally,
they have
and
people.
you ask them about it. Dude, here's a prime example. I got this weird lump on my nut, and it freaked me out. No,
Could be testicular cancer, right?
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
dude, and it freaked me out. And I was just so scared. I was like scared to tell anybody, and I let it go for like a couple years. And like the longer it went, the more it's just digging in at me, and it freaked me out. And I went up to Pear, and he was the dude that ran the entire high performance side of things at the time. And I actually just ran into him. He lives out here now. I just ran into him at the airport. He was picking up his son. But I called him, and I'm like, dude, Pear, I'm freaking out. He's like, what's wrong, Hucker? He's like the gentlest soul. He looks like a Viking, dude. He's sick. And I told him what was going on. He's like, all right, well, let me do some research, and I'll get back to you. And he found a doctor for me that was local to me, and he's like, yeah, go see them. And I was like, and then it was good. Turns out it's a hydrocele. It's kind of from smashing my nuts too many
Yeah, I was
times.
gonna say, is that what happened?
No, but it's a
nutcracker.
sack of fluid on it. And I've gotten it checked a couple times just because I'm like, maybe I need a second opinion. This thing's freaking me out. And both times came back as it's a hydrocele.
Wow,
So,
that's so cool that they're like that,
dude.
Could have been a lifesaver.
Dude, yeah, you know what's really cool too in hindsight, like knowing Fuzzy Hall just through you know Randy Sugihara Sugi, and I would go snowmobiling with Fuzzy.
That's rad. You know Randy
and
also.
so he would always talk about you. He would always be like, dude, we got to get Hucker on this.
Randy?
Hucker on this. No, Fuzzy. Fuzzy would always bring you up, dude. And it's just so cool to see, like, you know, as I dove deeper and we did some research as the interview, and as I talked to him, he really seems like a mentor person to you, you know, and it's just, he's.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, Randy. I couldn't hold it anymore.
Dude, that was impeccable timing.
Great timing.
Or Fuzzy.
Yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but that was a nice shart. So we've been going for a while. Before we wrap things up, do you want to say any thank yous?
I would just like to first and foremost thank my incredible family for all the support over the years. My parents, they've been with me every step of the way, just wanting, even when I wasn't doing good, like kind of screwing up, they're like, Mike, get your shit together, figure it out, you know, and they just always had my back. My wife's amazing, dude. She always, still to this day, pushes me to be my best, whether I'm having it or not. She's always there for me. And, man, I love that woman so much. All my sponsors that I have now, but even like past sponsors, dude, they enabled me to, they never asked me to do something I didn't want to do. They just wanted me to be me, you know, and that's huge. And especially my sponsors I have now, dude, they're all awesome, dude. Like I can't thank them enough. I'm still living this crazy dream. You know, it's like, I'm gonna wake up one day and reality's gonna hit, I'm gonna get a job, and then it'll be sick. It'll be next chapter. But I want to keep doing this as long as my sponsors and my body wants me to.
Beautiful.
That's Red Bull, S&M bikes, ODI grips, demolition bike parts, Vans, Opkicks, that's a little camera company, Fix MFG. You might actually like this Fix. Is sick. It's a multi-tool. And it fits in the size of a normal belt buckle. It's badass. They have a snow one. They have a cycling one, a skate one, a surf one. It has every tool to fix your board or most of your bike, and it's literally in the size of a normal belt buckle. And I just can't thank Oakley enough. They opened up their facility to let me build whatever I want, and they gave me tractors. I built some of the biggest jumps in Southern California for BMX, and that's a dream I've had ever since I was a little kid. So shout out to Oakley. They rule. An Epic BMX bike shop I ride for. Occasionally work out a little bit, and Team Soil.
Couple things too. If you're interested in riding with Hucker, you can find him at Woodward. Sign up for one of his sessions.
Yeah, I'm doing a dirt week. I just did one at Woodward West. I'm doing one tomorrow, all this week in Park City. And then August 22nd to the 26th, I will be at Woodward, Pennsylvania, the OG Woodward, teaching kids how to build jumps, ride jumps, trail etiquette, trail maintenance, and how to have the most fun ever on your bike and hang out with the boys and girls.
I was thinking, dude, I was watching with the kids. I was like, my brother's kids got to come here. Like, this is insane.
Dude, it's sick.
It's really cool. And then one more thing, where can people find you on social media? Where are you most active?
I'm not consistent with it. I'm not the best at it, but my Instagram is at Mike Hucker. I haven't used a Twitter in probably 25 years, so don't go there anymore.
Cool.
Yeah, Facebook.com/Mike Hucker. I think that is. No, that was my MySpace. I think the Facebook.
Head on over to myspace.org.
myspace.org.net.
Still up. Still up.
I used to go to that for my flashbacks back in the day. And now you could get to the profile, but you can't get to the photos anymore.
Oh, lame.
I had dreadlocks for a day.
For a day.
Dreaded up the mullet. So one more thing before we get out of here. In the words of Fuzzy Hall, what did he say to you?
Ride the wave, dude.
Ride the wave. To you, Hucker, thank you so much for coming on. To our listeners, to our supporters, thank you guys. We can't thank you enough. Anybody that's ever bought a piece of merch, listen to the podcast, watch the podcast. We can't thank you enough. And we'll have another podcast coming at you next week. Over and out from the bomb hole.